the fall, and in your mind the clouds have been gathering. You may feel hopeless, but I'll never let you go. Fly through the stratosphere and then I'll rip and scream it from your soul. Oh, we'll watch him fall. Now your clouds are all gone. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again.
Welcome to the Stampede. My name is Legend Vash, and I return to give you the rundown of the night. We are on season 2 of Weebs of the Ring, and we return to WWE Raw on Netflix. Cero miedo. And for those who don't know what that means, it means zero fear. The long-awaited debut of Penta has finally come, and as Michael Cole said in commentary, the worst kept secret in pro wrestling for the past weeks and months. However, for the second Raw of the year was stellar and better than last week, porque llegamos al fin con Penta. Él llegó a WWE y al fin hizo uno gigante splash versus Chad Gable, y todo el mundo en San José lo cantó mucho, y todo el mundo está feliz y sorprendido de que al fin llegó y todo el mundo la cantó. Pero ¿sabes qué más que el que cantó y lloró? Y las flores, los birds, they flew. It was Lyra Valkyria has won the IC title and was emotional as well. Gunther does something. Watkins was happy about it. But versing main event Jey Uso at Saturday Night Main Event. Are you guys excited about it? Because I'm finally thrilled that Damian Priest has finally will be done with Finn Balor. Question mark. Is Dominic Mysterio Liv Morgan's little bitch? We're going to find out. Stay tuned. And Sheamus won over Ludwig to get an IC title opportunity for Saturday Night Main Event. Will this be an Irish IC winner for the men's and women's for this month? We will find out, because CM Punk and Drew and Seth freaking Rollins had an interaction for the beginning of the show, and Wyatt Six leaves for SmackDown. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? And I'll blame you, Miz. So without further ado, let's get ready to start the show and wrestle for Weebs of the Ring, episode 104.
Woo, with anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a group of weebs who love, absolutely adore the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all you nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other, much like Finn Balor tonight. So grab your. I already said all that. We are presented to you by Animal We Studio, and this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. As I try to repeat myself, I do want to give a nice standing ovation. Well, I'm not standing, I'm still going to be sitting in my chair. Standing ovation to Vash with his little stampede there. That was awesomely done. So kudos to you, dude, for putting respect on the name of Penta. And we will be talking about Penta. We're going to be talking about Lyra. We're going to be talking about a lot of things tonight. But as always, people, I am your world champion Walk-ins, here to see how you guys enjoyed your weekly Netflix and chill Raw edition. Just make sure you're safe out there, all right, everybody? But as always, I am never alone in this endeavor, for you see, there are two lovely gentlemen above me. First and foremost, to my right shoulder. I think I'm pointing at the right. If my camera's right, yep, there we go. I see myself on the live stream. We have on my right shoulder the legend, the visionary himself. We got Vash. Vash, how you doing tonight?
Well, I don't know if I'm the visionary tonight, because I think CM Punk called me the Messiah. You know, he's called me a different name, so I'm a bit confused of who I am. My identity is hard to question, but it is very thrilling to be here for the night. I don't really speak Spanish on the streams. For those that don't know, I am Colombian. I don't really always say it, so it's really good to hear Penta as well telling to his Mexican crowd and to the Latino audience. That's really dope to hear. And also the goosebumps I got, like The Rock always says, like the goosebumps, you felt it. And it was dope to not see the LWO involved in this. Very thrilled to see that. Great show. Tony Khan, you fuck up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't
We'll
worry.
delve
We're
into
gonna we're gonna have some words about that. Also, Vash, I want to let you know, I have changed your contract for the show. So anytime you have to mention Penta in your Stampede, you have to do it in Spanish. So
Está bien conmigo.
sorry, not
Nosotros
sorry.
vamos a hablar el español y hablar con los audience que pueden escuchar nosotros en inglés y también en español con no problema.
Yeah, they're gonna have fun with the audio feed. I'll tell you that.
Si, bueno. And of course, to my left shoulder, to help us kind of process everything, to help us understand the stories going forward and everything that's going on in and outside of the ring, we got the genius of the mat himself. Drop this box. Drop, how
The
you doing tonight?
OTC.
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, one thing I have to say straight off the bat is this show, like we spoke about last week, it seems like last week's show was a bit of an introduction for a lot of the new people hopping on Netflix to check out WWE, but this show right here is exactly what I wanted to see when it comes to Raw being on Netflix. Like everything all the way down, besides like a few bumps here and there, which is to be expected. But overall, like I thought this was a really good show. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I was happy just watching the show, Watkins. For those that don't know, quick plug, go check out twitch.tv/AnimeMovie3 Studio. We do the Weebs of the Ring sidecast there. Myself and Watkins will be doing our weekly on Mondays. If things don't happen, it's because of our schedule. But we will be there weekly for the Raw. And it was just great to see a nice 2.5 hour show of Raw. Consistent, good pacing, transitional, the drone shots. You will see me and Watkins talking about the drone shot almost every like 10 minutes. Is it the drone shot? Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I don't
Oh, look, the
blame you.
drone's in the corner. It's just fucking
It was
amazing.
literally,
You enjoy the
literally
production.
every time they did a drone shot, we're just like,
Ah.
oh, that looks good. Oh, that
Don't
looks
blame you.
good. Because it did. Exactly.
It was
looked
amazing.
really good.
And just to see a 2 hour show, I told Watkins, I think, like, oh, the Streets fight is the main event. It has to be, since it's the one that's going to be the longest. And story wise is built up. And to actually start at 10, the fight I think started by 10:11 or 10:10 around it, and it was done by 10:35. Show wrap, executive producer, and credits and everything. I'm like, yo, flash show, love it. 2 hours and a half. Where Triple H said it a couple months ago during the press coverage for all these Raw and Netflix. He said, hey, if the show's 40 minutes, the show's an hour, the show's 3 hours, the show's 2, whatever fits the script, it fits the story. That's what it fits for, and I love it. We saw it. Who knows? Probably next week is an hour and a half. We won't know, and I love it.
Oh, I love it too. But yeah, so before we get into everything, as you heard, Vash plug our sidecast that we're doing every Monday. So be sure to join us every Monday for that. Again, unless, we can't do it. But also, if you want to talk to us about anything, we do have a bunch of social media accounts. You can see all of our handles down at the bottom of the screen. You can follow AnimeMovie Studio. You can follow Vash at his accounts. You can follow Drop This Box. You can follow me, Watkins, at WatkinsMW. All that wonderful, beautiful, awesome stuff. Again, links in the description, handles right there on the screen for you. And without further ado, let's kind of dive into this show, because I think we really owe it to ourselves to kind of talk about this headline story, because history was made tonight, everybody. History was made. We had an awesome match. We had the ending of a tournament for the first ever women's Intercontinental champion. We had Lyra Valkyria taking on Dakota Kai in a really good match between the two. One thing I want to note about the match itself is just Lyra basically having an answer for a lot of Dakota's offense. There were times where like she would block a kick or a reverse suplex or a finisher or whatever. And unfortunately for a lot of Dakota fans, which on our poll on Twitter, which we normally do during the shows, a lot of you wanted Dakota to win, so I don't blame you on that aspect, but it was not in the cards tonight. Lyra hitting a Nightwing and becoming the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. So my initial question tonight for you folks is, how do you like this? How do you like the winner being Lyra Valkyria?
I have two questions. Question number one is, statement. Statement number one is, one, it just hit me that her finisher is called Nightwing, and it just made me love her a bit more, since my favorite character is Nightwing from DC Comics, so that's hella dope to see. And two, I wonder if this segment of their match was cut short a bit, because it felt like they could have gone longer, because one of the reports said that Penta went way longer than initially planned in his debut match, in post match promo, which led to time being trimmed in other segments later in the show, which then makes me question, like, probably that's what felt short, because I felt like this match was shorter because of the commercial ad that happened in the middle, and then once we came back, the match was done like 3 minutes later or 2 minutes later, and it felt short for me. Where if you guys saw the sidecast or wasn't aware, I wanted Dakota Kai to win. I was okay with whichever winner was, because both of them would deserve it. Both of them have worked hard. I'm okay with either ladies. I know they will bring greatness to the potential of this IC title. But I want Dakota Kai to win because it's something Watkins brought up during our stream, that she's been injured for the past couple of years and she has lost opportunities because of things happening out of her control. So I was hoping for Dakota Kai just to get this opportunity, but maybe she'll get it in the later half of the year. Time will tell. Lyra Valkyria winning the Nightwing, knowing that now that's a finisher, I'm more impressed. And they did a stellar match, even though as a viewer, as a content creator, it felt short for me, but still as a fan, congrats to them. That's my overall thoughts.
Yeah. But Drop, I'm gonna pivot to you because you were the one that was, fully behind Lyra Valkyria for winning this match. And again, like, I think state this for a lot of people. I would have been fine with either of them winning, and I wouldn't have been upset with either of them winning. But I know you were very, very heavy since the beginning of the tournament for Lyra to win.
It's a similar situation that I was with Tiffany when I was explaining, why I got emotional when Tiffany cashed in the Money in the Bank on Nia Jax that Friday. It'll be a little bit different if I didn't follow the wrestler's journey from day one all the way to where they are. Because I used to watch Lyra on the Indies before she came over to NXT UK, and then she went to NXT 2.0, and then her career took off from there. So I've been following her for a while, especially like when she went back recently to do stuff with one of her best friends, or like a tag team partner that she had when she did something like that. Which, keep that up, Triple H. I like how you're letting them go to other promotions and doing stuff. That's really nice. I would definitely love to see possibly New Japan in the future, if that's in the cards for certain people. But like when it
tease me with that.
Well, to give you guys like a little insight, just in case there's some new people that come across this show, because just like how Triple H wanted to pace this show tonight when it came to the 2.5-hour show, we want to do the exact same thing, fill you guys in on a couple of things so you guys are left with things to listen to if you decide to listen to this later. But when I was watching NXT again, when I took a little break, I went back, and Lyra Valkyria wasn't really noticed as much at first, because around that time they were putting a lot of stock in Cora Jade, they were putting a lot of stock in Roxanne and Tiffany Stratton and all of that. But then HBK decided to throw people a bone and see what they did with it, and then ever since then, Lyra's just been propelling. And then you had that whole thing that happened in Indy Hartwell, where she had to vacate the championship, and her and Tiffany had to compete for it, and they were on a tournament and everything, and Tiffany ended up coming up on the Tiffy top in NXT. But I'm just really excited, again, that both of these girls were in this moment. I don't want people thinking that not giving Dakota any credit, because I even put out a tweet giving credit to Dakota Kai, because I do agree, she's been on this thing for quite some time now. She's been injured. She deserves to be in a position like this, and I'm sure she will, because I'm pretty sure Lyra's just having... Well, actually, I'll just get into the Lyra part. So pretty much, when Lyra won the title, I was really happy. I was really excited, because I see the vision of what they're trying to do. I try to look into the future a little bit, almost like some That's So Raven shit, where I can see the future, some sort of shit like that. And it's like, I see what they're trying to set up, because we obviously know Becky Lynch is supposed to be returning soon. And it doesn't really make sense for Becky Lynch to fit in the program with Rhea Ripley or Tiffany Stratton, because most fans agree that Io's getting Rhea at Mania, and then Charlotte's getting Tiffany at Mania. And if you want to propel somebody like Becky Lynch, which is a stable in the women's division, and you want to make that IC title feel important, I mean, hey, she's the perfect person to do it. And she did the exact same thing when she had the NXT championship. She made it feel special. But if you really want to give some weight to that championship, you have Lyra go up against somebody like that. They already have a lot of history. and I would assume history would repeat itself, which you're going to see a ongoing theme with this once we get closer to WrestleMania when it comes to Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton, that I would assume on the main roster, because they had this done in NXT, but I would assume on the main roster, you would have this match at WrestleMania. You would build on this history, and I feel like the way the story is going to go is Becky's really going to put Lyra, she's really going to push Lyra over the edge to actually turn her into something, because I understand the criticism sometimes where people are like, well, Lyra doesn't really have that much personality. She's a great wrestler, but where's the charisma behind it and everything? The perfect person to really bring that out of her is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has done that with people numerous times when it came to building their character to make them stand out on their own 2 feet. And Becky would be a good hurdle for Lyra Valkyria to show the people on the main roster, because as much as we love NXT, not everybody watches that on the main roster. So in order for people to get more familiar with Lyra Valkyria and actually add more stock to her so people actually care about her a little bit more, they do now, but in order for people to really get more behind her, putting her in a program with Becky Lynch, which I feel like is the destination that we're going towards, would definitely help elevate not only that title, but elevate Lyra Valkyria until, of course, eventually down the line, she drops that and she moves on to greater things. Because I'm all about building to the next generation when it comes to Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria and whoever comes after, Julia, Stephanie Becker, etc., so on. Those are going to be powerhouses. Those are going to be the women that you see in the division 5 to 6 years from now. So that's why I was super excited for that, because that's what I personally want to see. And since we had that recent post from Chris Featherstone that I mentioned on the podcast not that long ago, that we're going to get more organic promos similar to what we got with CM Punk and Seth Rollins a few weeks ago, I can definitely see something like that being added if there's a program between Becky Lynch and Lyra. But I do believe Dakota Kai will definitely get her time to shine. Definitely. I mean, especially when you have Asuka coming back soon, you got Kyrie coming back soon, so obviously you could really work something out with that, but I definitely feel like she's going to have her time. That's not going to be the only shot she gets to the IC title. I mean, fuck it, if you want to have Lyra's first program with Dakota Kai or whatever, run that for a little bit, or maybe if you want to take a little, actually put that on the burner for a little bit, but if you want to have do something with Dakota outside of the PFC stuff, then I'd be completely okay with that. I mean, if they didn't really care about Dakota, they would have gave her a new theme. I mean, they obviously are showing some sort of importance towards Dakota. And just a little rant here. I'm sorry going a little tangent. I just want to get this out of my system. But don't shit on Lyra Valkyria, or don't shit on Dakota Kai just because your favorite wrestler didn't win. Because it's not good to do things like that. They're going out here busting their ass off for entertainment. There was a pretty fucking crazy bump in this match, and they did that for our entertainment alone.
Oh, so dude, that suplex was crazy, man.
Lyra was busting stuff I have not seen her do. I have not seen her do that since she's come up. Even
it's just a simple suplex to the outside, but like just the way because like that is dangerous. Like no matter what you do, that is a dangerous move to go onto a mat, like, because that's the thing, those mats aren't really that thick. They may look a little thicker to you guys, but they really aren't that thick, you know? And that's like concrete down there. So whenever they do a move like that, like later on we see Finn get put through a table, you know, with like out there. Like it is not that, it's not too well padded. It still freaking hurts.
Especially that move she did with, like, she put her arm on her neck and, like, slammed her down to the ring when she was trying to counter something. I haven't seen her do stuff like that, which I'm all for it. If you want to bust more moves out of the bag to really put yourself out there, I mean, I can only imagine what kind of clinic her and Becky Lynch are going to put on in WrestleMania. Yeah. If that's in the cards. I mean, Becky Lynch is fucking fantastic. You can only imagine what she's going to bring out of her with that. But it's like, I'm just more excited for the future. And Lyra Valkyria being the first woman to be the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. I mean, right there in itself, you're making history straight off the bat. That's something that she can carry with her over the years. And I just feel like when it comes to certain people, they kind of lean towards them a little bit more. And that's not our fault because that's just how the company works at the end of the day. I mean, all the merchandise sales that they're putting into Penta right now, I mean, we're going to get into him a little bit. I can only imagine where that's going to skyrocket him when it comes to his overall presentation in the company as well. But they do pay attention to shit like that. They do pay attention to who they want to build and whatever along the lines of that. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on that. Obviously, you can tell very positive, but also very appreciated that the woman's made history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the whole Becky Lynch thing, because it's like, because I can already hear, I can hear you, IWC. I can hear the keyboards clacking. I can hear the little clicking if you keep your phone volume on your phones. I can hear it. Oh, here comes Becky Hogan again. Ew. It's just like, first of all, shut the flip up.
Yeah.
Like,
I never understood that criticism because she's never done that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw this clip recently floating online, but I remember it was like a little interview she did. And she was like, well, I prefer losing my matches more because I prefer building up all of these rising stars, similar to John Cena. That's because he's going to get 17 this year, but that's also something that he's done. A lot of these people see the vision of all these upcoming people. I never understood Becky Hogan. It doesn't make any sense. She never goes in and does shit like that.
No, like, and because like that's the thing. It's like Becky Lynch is the perfect person to build up your upcoming talent. Like, and having her being a part of the IC title picture is gonna do wonders for that division and for the people holding that title. Like, whether she beats Lyra or not at Mania. And like, honestly, if Becky does go over Lyra, guess what? Wait a minute, hold on. Put 2 and 2 together. Correct me if I'm wrong. That would make them 1-1, which means we would have to have a rubber match. Like, you can build upon that. You can like make something of it, because like that's the thing. Like, again, I'm glad you brought it up too. It's like Becky Lynch is able to pull the true character out of somebody. She did it with Lyra before. She did it with Tiffany.
Yeah, that's why Tiffany actually blew up because of her.
And as much as y'all probably don't want to admit this either, she brought it out of Liv last year.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, she did. Yeah, that is true.
Like, Becky is that kind of talent to really bring out the best out of people. So you're really gonna hinder her? Come on, man! Get out of here with that.
I would say, quick last thoughts on mine about it, because we have King Dakota on Twitter got a quick interview by Captain Kelly, and Dakota answering the same thing that she has said in her promo, that she has a lot of doubt, a lot of things questioning her, but she appreciates the match that she had with Lyra. She is very emotional, but she exactly. And Triple H says something beautiful. No WWE superstar does it alone. It takes great opponents to make great champions. Congratulations to King Dakota, Dakota Kai. And she said that she's still hunting the title. If she's not the first, she will be a second or third or fourth. So who knows when the time comes. But I'm happy. The attitude's there. No matter what people say, story script and everything, a winner. But at the end of the day, this is still, they're working for it. This is them showing effort for their boss, for the superior. So the next time there is an opportunity, they can actually become that champion because of the work they have shown in the past matches and the past months.
Yeah. So Dakota's going to be fine and all that. But again, match was great. Tournament's been great. I think the only other question I want to ask you guys, who do you think is going to be the first feud for Lyra? Because I mean, there's a plethora of women that can go down. They could either do
I hate to say
the easy route of like,
no,
go ahead.
PFS. PFC.
I thought you were gonna say like that K-pop band. I thought you said BTS. I was like, that's interesting.
No, PFC. PFC, Pure Fusion Collective.
Pretty freaking cringe. All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
freaking cringe.
I mean, that's one of them.
Yeah,
if she stomps out all three before Becky, hey, go ahead.
Ready?
Go after it.
Put me to sleep with that shit.
Yeah. Look,
but I get what you're saying though, because it's realistic, and I wouldn't do the Dakota match right away. I would leave that on the back burner. Try to, you know what I would do with Dakota? I would try to go on like a little arc with Dakota, a little mini arc where have her like rebuild her character. Not saying that she has to, but just have her go through a couple matches and everything along the lines of that. And then if you want to revisit it down the line, so be. I just feel like it's too recent. I wouldn't even run that at Saturday night's main event because really wouldn't make sense. We just saw you just leave it on the back burner for a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be a good moment when it happens, and I don't necessarily think I want it to be Lyra to be the opponent when she does win. I kind of want it to be somebody that's on like, not saying Lyra is like not going to be at a big level in the future because I'm sure she is, but I'd rather see it against somebody that she has like a lot of blood. Like it's kind of like a blood feud, like kind of like a hatred and stuff, where like the win hits a little bit harder. Yeah, so actually, yeah, that would make sense. Something along something along the lines of that, or whatever. But it's like, I would definitely do something like that. I mean, PFC, we could potentially see that. But we also have to see as well, like whenever this whole transfer window shit comes into picture. You never know, somebody from NXT might pop up and might try to challenge a Lyra or whatever. But PFC could potentially be a thing. We'll just have to wait and see how that turns out and everything. I'm pretty sure we'll get I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're not a bad shout for like the first defense and all that, you know, because I think they fit that role pretty well, especially Sonya Deville, because I mean she was very adamant with, like, you know, when they took out Kyrie and all that, trying to get into the tournament and everything. Yeah, I mean, well, hell, I mean, Shayna would be another one that
would be
Dakota could try to topple, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've always been on the Shayna train, so y'all know that. But, you know, but yeah, we could sit here for hours speculating on all that. But yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a strong start for the women's IC title.
Yeah.
Again, you know, between the IC and the US title for the women on both sides, you know, I think we're going to be getting different matches and different stories, which is good. Kind of keep them fresh between the two. And yeah, we'll just have to see where everything goes from there and where our competition lies. So if you guys are fine with that, we're going to move on to our World Heavyweight title picture. So finally, after weeks of being away from the show, Gunther is finally here in person to give a promo. And I was so happy with his promo, being like, look, you guys can fight about being the best in the world. You can fight for your little necklaces. Cool, neat, awesome. It matters not, because I am the world champion. I am the top of this food chain here on Raw, and you guys should all be fighting for this. And the man who answers the call is Jey Uso. And they have a bit of a back and forth. Oh, excuse me. Main event Jey Uso. He comes out and calls Gunther out for Saturday's main event. And I'm going to start off by saying I like how Gunther didn't just dismiss his challenge.
Yeah.
In fact, he was just like, yeah, you know what? I'll take your challenge. Just know I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to remind you why you're just a tag team wrestler and all that. And we got Passionate Jay through this promo battle too, which I know a lot of people have been missing because, you know, there have been some criticisms from some people being like, oh, the whole yeet thing. Oh, I like Jay when he's all serious and all that. Well, hey, guess what? Here's your little bit of a serious Jay being like, look, I'm proving myself outside. I was scared to go on my own, but I've proven that I can do it, and I'm going to do it. And Jay has a good way of just having the crowd get behind him, especially in like kind of an underdog role and all that. Do I think Jay's gonna beat Gunther at Saturday Night's main event? No, I don't think so. I think this is just something to kind of hold Gunther over, hopefully until the Royal Rumble. If he even has a match at the Royal Rumble, I don't know. Like, if you guys heard my rant on Friday, you kind of know how displeased I am with how they've presented Gunther in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, it can all change. It can all go up. That'd be cool and awesome. But I do want to ask you guys, how do you guys feel about Jay going into this position? Because I haven't seen too much stuff online, but I know my immediate thought is just like, okay, we're doing this again? We're giving Jay another shot at the title? I mean, fine, because, yeah.
My initial thoughts is I think because he's on the poster, that's probably why, because he is advertised on the poster of Saturday Night's main event, so I assume that's the reason why he's put in this position. And also, it's like it's something easy you could really do because it's like you got Jey Uso there, you got Gunther. They only have a week to really build up to this thing. So obviously on SmackDown, we're gonna get a couple matches thrown in there as well, possibly Monday too. So they are a little bit late to the program when it comes to building up to this thing compared to what they did prior to that. But I just feel like it's like an easy fill-in. Everybody loves Jey Uso. I mean, the crowd shows itself, merch sales show. And obviously, Gunther is a beast in the ring. So I feel like what I liked about this segment personally, I like the realism coming from Jey Uso.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I appreciate, similar to the promo segment that he had with Braun Breaker a couple months ago, where instead of like all the yeeting and like all, you know, the regular things that we see from Jey Uso, which is fine, it's in his character. But outside of that, it's nice to see a little change where we see some realism, where we actually see Jay speak from the heart. We actually see some real raw emotion come from that, and that's something I really appreciate coming out of this segment between him and Gunther, because that's the kind of story I want to be. I want to be told within them. It doesn't even have to be a super complex story. It could be something easy like that. And what I'm hoping to see out of this event is obviously. I'm hoping starting off the year in 2025, you know, we're going to see this Gunther all the way through, because this is the kind of fucking Gunther I want to see. So I'm happy that this is the Gunther we're getting on television. And also, I want to see what Gunther said to Jay tonight. I want to see what he's going to bring to the table when it comes to that match that they're going to be having next weekend. Obviously, we know Gunther isn't dropping the title, especially when we're getting close to WrestleMania season and all the possible plans that we have with Gunther, because a lot of people are saying, oh, Gunther's going to be getting Seth Rollins, which that'd be a perfect fucking match, holy shit. Or people are saying Logan Paul, that's more like a Saudi match. And then you have like, was another one thrown in there, John Cena, which honestly the perfect hurdle for John Cena, really. So it's like, this would just be a good match, and I'm hoping showcases what they were saying in the ring. That's what I really took out of this. And I also want to give another shout out to my boy, Oba fucking Femi, that was in the audience in this segment, and I felt like this was done by design, because Triple H knows when Oba Femi gets on the main roster, holy shit, this guy is going to be a beast. He's already over in NXT. A lot of people love him. A lot of people, whenever he's coming out, they do the strut, they do the who, they do the who thing whenever he's coming out. That guy, he's fucking awesome. Like, I kid you not, nobody I've seen has any dislike toward him. He is fucking loved by this community, and I absolutely love that. But I felt like that was done by design, because Oba Femi versus Gunther, holy fucking shit. That's going to be one hell of a match that they're going to do in the future, and I felt like that was done by design. We got Oba Femi showing off the NXT title, which if you guys want to check out the reaction, by the way, just a quick plug-in, we have that reaction on TikTok, we have that on Twitter from me and Vash. We were shocked he won, because we thought we were going to prolong a little bit with the triple threat, but I mean, HBK starting off the year, 2 new champions on his brand. Absolutely love it. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks Adam Cole's record. I believe he holds the longest NXT title reign, if I'm not mistaken. But Oba Femi, nobody in the slightest.
I think so.
I can't really see anybody dethroning him anytime soon. Not even the fucking Infinity Gauntlet could really take that reign from Oba Femi, just based on how dominant he is. But we obviously know
too many Oba feminists around to have him falter. Like I dare speak for all three of us in here. We are all Oba feminists in here. So join in the crowd. If not, what are you? Some sort of patriarchy?
But I definitely felt like that was done by design. Like, just you don't just show him off there and then you transition to Gunther. Like Triple H, we know your game. We know that you teased Gunther and Ilya Dragunov all those months ago. We know we're eventually going to see it down the line. I heard that was really supposed to be the WrestleMania match this year. It's unfortunate because I would absolutely love to see that, because holy shit, that on the grandest stage in the mall would be freaking fantastic. But dude, the future is bright. I am looking forward to this shit. But this is a very well segment. Very well done.
Someone needs to get Ilya Dragunov a sensu bean, because the idea of
John Cena,
the idea of Logan Paul, facing Gunther at WrestleMania. You know what that is? You know what kind of reaction that gives me?
No, I don't. That's more of a Saudi match. It feels like a Saudi match. It does not like, are we saying the match would be bad? No, because obviously they're both great, but it doesn't sound like a WrestleMania match. Like Gunther versus John Cena, WrestleMania. Gunther versus Seth Rollins, WrestleMania. I'm not sure why people are shitting on the match. You guys are fucking crazy. Gunther versus Seth Rollins, WrestleMania match. Gunther versus CM Punk, WrestleMania match. But I honestly, this we'll get into it once we dive into the opening segment. But there's a unpredictable year comes the Royal Rumble. Holy shit, especially on the men's side.
Stacked Rumble.
That's gonna be fun to get into.
Yeah. Oh, and don't worry. You know, again, people, we do at least I do. But we do plan on doing a sidecast for the Royal Rumble. So
lots of nuts would be busted that night.
Yes, Chad. Me and Watkins did agree during the sidecast of today's Monday Raw show that me and him are sidecasting that night of Royal Rumble.
Yeah. One thing I would throw in there, Vash, is as you guys are doing that, just a little behind the scenes thing, because we'll do it on here just because we like keeping a lot of the organic flow on the show. I would post, like, obviously I already know you're gonna do this already. I'm just gonna say it just for the hell of it. But obviously I would do certain highlights throughout that match that's like those viral moments, but also Royal Rumble is always that place where you get returns, debuts. We upload that shit immediately. It's gonna get clicks.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. That's the goal. And
gosh.
I'm excited for main event Jay. It sucks that he's not gonna win. Let's just say that for starting out a main event. Gunther came back for his own show. I know Walker was very sad that he wasn't here for the past 3 weeks. We saw a video package for him on debut, but for this being a better paced Raw, he had a good crowd. And main event Jay, as brought up earlier, main event Jay being the person to verse him for Saturday main event, great opponent, but sad choice because we know he's not gonna win this at this event. If Jay actually does, it will be a total fucking shocker. I will say that, but I am behind Yeet corner, and I can't wait to see how that turns out. Best of luck. Hopefully you put a stellar match, and please continue fixing your spears. I would love for them to be better.
Oh yeah, and don't worry, we'll be yeeting during the match like that. Don't think we won't be.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a massive heavy chop going on during that yeet. So
By the way, that commentary, Pat McAfee or something else, he kept saying, I yeeted on myself, and they're like, Pat, tranquilo, my guy, tranquilo.
Honestly, I'm actually really curious to see like your guys' overall viewing experience compared to like the live experience with Saturday night's main event, because like from a show's perspective, like key moments, it was cool and all, but hopefully they pace the commercials a little bit. Because one of the things I will say is, like, I like how, like I mentioned to Watkins when I commented on the Twitch chat, the timer, what gives you a good idea how long the commercials are going to be, which I love the pacing with that. It's actually really smart. But hopefully it's not too chaotic, because I understand we get commercials and shit like that, but it's literally like, okay, let's walk over here, commercial. Let's walk over there, commercial. It's, like, really repetitive, so hopefully it's well maintained this time around.
I still haven't watched the one from previous or last month.
I haven't either.
I don't know if I will take the time to do it because I have another tremendous of homework to do, so I haven't seen it. But who knows if I will find the time for it to actually see the comparison.
And just to put this out here before we move on as well, the next Saturday night's main event is going to be taking place on July 12th, which is when AEW All In is taking place. So
I didn't know they was having another one. Okay, they're having a third one. Okay, so
actually,
interesting.
Well, they're doing like 4 a year.
Yeah, to be fair,
I
count this year as like the start off point, because that was the last time. That was like towards the end of December. I don't really count that, but obviously it makes sense. Beginning of winter, summer, fall, and then etc. so on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So once every quarter, I feel like that's very well balanced. Not bad.
Yeah, especially when you go from January to July. That's quite a month.
Oh yeah, but as fun as talking about Gunther and Jay is, we're gonna move on to our mid card stories. And I know. Yeah, there's a reason. We kind of, I don't want to say sped through the first 2 segments, but there's a
talk.
reason I wanted to get to this part. So, we had a debut tonight. We had Chad Gable wanting to face off against some silly luchador, and the silly luchador we got was good old Penta. That's right. Penta is now no longer all elite. He has now become a god in the WWE. First, I'm going to start off with this. The match itself. The only notes I had for it were only two simple words. Fucking banger. Okay, first of all, Chad Gable in defeat looked amazing. You know, his selling throughout the match from just simple things like, oh, Penta lifting him up with his foot and all that, or like the sacrifice move to the freaking, what was it, the Mexican Destroyer. The Mexican Destroyer of all things looked awesome, you know? But then, like, Penta, he had a couple missteps here and there, I noticed, but I think that was mainly to do with the adrenaline he had in the arena, because the crowd was pretty hot for him tonight.
Yeah. You saw a lot. Actually saw an actual crowd for one.
Yeah, exactly.
I kept pointing that out during outside cast. That show's hilarious because, like, the way of the reaction. Oh, he's like, oh shit, the hard cam. There's a lot of people here. It actually filled to the top. It's not like only 1,000 people or less in a arena. Now he actually has a good 20K or and less people right now in his debut, and his family was there. We have confirmation. I believe it was from Fightful or I believe from Versal Ops that was his actual daughter that was crying there, and that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's a that's a big moment for her, seeing her dad debut there. I mean, I don't blame her for getting emotional.
Yeah, but I don't. All right, I'm gonna preface this. Okay, so that's just me with the match. Whatever. I feel like all of us feel like it was a fucking banger. But
great, gave a lot of time.
Very proud of Gable.
They had
Chad.
no ads throughout the whole time. It was straight match.
Love
like,
it.
Yes, that's how you should do it. You know, probably should have done that with a women's IC title match too. But you know, that's neither here nor there. We won't get into that discussion because we got to have another talk, ladies and gentlemen. Because
there we go.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna preface this saying, look, I don't like tribalism for one.
Me either.
I'm gonna start with that. Okay.
Agreed.
I try my best not to be tribalistic. I try to be.
And when we do it, we just do it for shits and giggles.
Exactly. I try my best. And I try hard to give things chances. I try to give people chances. I try to give companies chances, all that stuff. The presentation of Penta tonight was leagues beyond his presentation ever was in AEW. Whether it was him alone or him as part of the Lucha Bros, like, his presentation tonight was phenomenal. And not only that, you can tell by his face, by the way he cut his promo, by the way his body language was, by the fact that earlier today WWE was just like, hey, guess what, everybody? Here's a bunch of Penta shit. Here's a fucking mask for you.
Merch looks
so
Here's a
Raw
mask
already had a
for you to
mask.
buy.
Fire merch.
They had it at the arena already.
Yeah, fire merch.
Like, oh my god, yes, like I am going to throw down $75 for that mask one day. Like, I will do that.
Me too. One day as well, one day.
It's the fact that this man, like, came into this company today, had his first match for this company today. Already, like, I get it, in the area and all that, so of course he's gonna be hot and all that, but like, I can see him being just as hot anywhere else. But it's like, you have somebody like this in your roster, in your company, and you barely capitalize on it, and then you spend the next, like, the last, like, what, 6 months of his contract? Because, like, all the stuff came out, like, around, what, September? Like, August, September time?
Yeah.
So that's about, like, 4 to 5 months. You shelf this man for about 4 to 5 months. Give him nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? You know, immediately, just night one, this man like makes part of me wants to say makes history because like I don't remember anyone coming into the company having like as good of a reception as this. Like you could say, oh yeah, your Cody's and all them, but like especially for somebody like Penta. And what I mean by that is like he's not really, at least from what I can tell, he's not really too well known in like the mainstream part of wrestling and all that, because like that's what WWE is. WWE is mainstream. WWE is basically like, oh, here's your Walmart compared to like your Sam's Club or whatever. But it's like Penta's one of those guys that's just like, oh yeah, have you heard of this Penta guy? No, I haven't. I literally had my nephew texted me during this match. He was like, who's this Matt's guy? I was just like, his name's Penta. He's new to the company. Isn't he great? And my nephew was just like, yeah, he is. I had people in my other group chat, not a wrestling group chat, mind you. It was another one. I posted a clip because Hang 'em High obviously did his little Sonic Rings thing, which oh my god, he chose the Mexican Destroyer spot for that part. So yes, that was perfect. But I shared that, and even they were just like, "Wait, who is this guy? Wait, what? Nani the fuck?" It's like, okay, you have somebody in here. You have your star. You have, dare I say. Dare these words come out of my mouth? You have your next Rey Mysterio. You have him right here. Literally. And yet you had him in your company. You had this talent in your company. You did nothing with it. And the reason I'm getting like this right now is mainly to do with that man's promo after that match. Because you could tell.
Oh, yeah.
Because and I said this during our sidecast, that you can tell that Triple H was just like, hey man, you're gonna do a post match interview, you're gonna do a post match promo. Say what you want to say, just let it out. Just obviously don't mention the other company or whatever, but just let it out. And literally, like, he basically just thanked everybody and was just so grateful that he had the opportunity to show exactly what he can do. And the thing is, we haven't seen all that he can do. He didn't show everything that he's capable of tonight, but he showed enough to really impress people, I think. And the fact that that man was so emotional, the fact that his own family, like, they showed his daughter was in tears. In tears at ringside because of the way that her father was presented in this company.
I want to bring up something that you brought up about Rey Mysterio. He also was in a post interview with Kathy Kelly. And Rey Mysterio was saying that I've always envisioned Penta's true home to WWE. So we know that we're going to get a Rey Mysterio versus Penta match in WWE, and that's going to be special. I wonder if that's going to be, imagine it's going to be like passing the baton towards the Penta. Like just seeing both of them just go back and forth on the ropes, doing the high jumps, doing all the movesets on each other, the counters, the flips. I just can't imagine.
Okay, I'll throw this out here.
Talk to me.
WrestleMania, perfect opportunity to do that. You want to give Penta like a match against Rey Mysterio, which they do have history, so it's not like they're not familiar with one another. Because actually, one thing I also want to point out throughout this match itself, I love, because this didn't happen in the old regime, which I really appreciate in the new one. I love how they mention other companies of where these wrestlers came from. Like they mentioned his work and Lucha Underground. They mentioned him being TNA champion at one point. I like how they were putting out that information because people at home are like, oh shit, he was in TNA. Oh shit, he was in Lucha Underground. They're gonna go online, type that shit, and find those matches. Because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but he had a match with Rey Mysterio and Lucha Underground when Rey Mysterio was away from WWE a little bit. And I believe that was around the time where he came back during the Royal Rumble, Rey Mysterio, after he was done doing all of that. And then he also had matches with Io Shirai. I'll preface it like that during Lucha Underground as well, because they do male versus female matches there. So they even had matches with one another, and you had Io Shirai doing Canadian destroyers on him as well. And oh my god, I think it was actually the Black Lotus, which was Io Shirai's faction around that time against Penta.
Yeah.
Against Penta.
Yep.
And Penta took out all of them but Io Shirai, and then she managed to get the win towards the end. So it would be pretty interesting since they're both on Raw if they cross paths and just look at one another. I'm not expecting a match or anything.
I hope so.
But
I really hope so.
But it would just be them looking at each other. It would just be a really cool moment in itself. But it's like Io. But
I would laugh if he literally responds to it like, "Hola, chica, I see you again."
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they mentioned Lucha Underground. I mean, hey, they got history there. But
Chelsea Green we got to as well on SmackDown. They had a match too.
Yeah. Chelsea Green was in Lucha Underground for a little bit too. But it's like, if you want to do like a high caliber match for like Penta at WrestleMania, because obviously WrestleMania cards have like 7 to 8 matches depending on each night, you could easily do something like that. Penta versus Rey Mysterio. That would be absolutely perfect to put a match in, especially on the grandest stage of them all, because for WWE, the Super Bowl is WrestleMania. If you want to put a high profile match like that between Penta versus Rey Mysterio, I would do something like that. That would actually be a perfect match to put on the card. I don't think anybody would have any issues with that. They would absolutely love to see something like that, and it would just add more to Penta as you build up throughout the months until Rey Fenix is officially able to come over to the WWE. Because one thing I heard they actually had merch done for Penta for quite some time now, because they were originally supposed to take the spot. Him and Rey were originally Rey Fenix. I'll say it like that. Him and his brother were originally supposed to take the spot that the Motor City Machine Guns had, but because of the whole contract situation that was going on at Rey Fenix around the time, just a whole bunch of shenanigans happening around September, like Watkins mentioned earlier, they had to hold off on that, and that's why the Motor City Machine Guns originally supposed to be in NXT, but they ended up moving to the main roster to fill that position. But, like Watkins said, a lot of fire merch. I mean, the mask looks great. It doesn't look like Spirit Halloween hologram mask on the AEW shop. And again, people watching this, if you're gonna take that like to heart, I mean, please don't. I'm just doing it for shits and giggles. If you like
just
that
fucking
match,
look at the thing. Look at the shop. Look at it. Just look at it. It looks like shit. Like
it sucks.
Spectacular.
It sucks. I had to like be careful with my
call
words
a spade
nowadays.
A spade.
But yeah,
no. We're gonna call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
It looks like shit.
Oh.
It looks like absolute.
I mean, I can go
ass.
full heel if I
like,
want. I mean, I might as well go full heel. You did, but it's like, I mean, that's actually kind of how I am in the show. So I'm kind of like that character development I did over the past couple of months doing the show. I kind of derailed myself. It kind of like some fucking Hiro Mashima character development just hit my fucking head. But it's like, yeah, I mean, you look at that mask. It doesn't look at that mask compared to the Penta match. Like the Penta mask looks like something I want to get like one of those silicone heads and just put the mask on there and just put that on a shelf and just have that as like something to like place in my room to add to the aesthetic of my room. That's something that I would want to own. And the merch looks that white shirt with the fucking skull on it, that looks so fucking awesome.
Really good.
Even the
my god,
I'm debating between that shirt or the fucking sweatshirt, because that they have a sweatshirt version of that too, and that looks fucking fire too. And if this is the direction we're going with the merch, oh my god, please keep going, because one of my biggest complaints of WWE over the years is the merch. It's getting where it needs to be now with sick designs and shit. But
I would like to add to what you're saying. The art style, the presentation, even his entrance, the way he just walks in, took his time. He enjoyed the aura of the crowd, and I just love that the music. We joke around it, chat audience. We hate Death Rebel. They're not perfect. They have lost their touch over the years, and I love the music that it wasn't the way that Penta came out, the tongue that he did throughout the match. I said it to Watkins during the sidecast. It reminded me a lot about the Boogeyman or of the Boogeyman. So it reminded me a lot of those scenes of the character that used to be back in the early years. So it just shows. And a quick reminder for anybody that doesn't know the lore history, of cero miedo is in Spanish. It translates to zero fear. For Penta, it's not just a phrase. He has no fear of anything and is driven to be as aggressive as possible to reach his goals, made possible by his unique and underground lucha style.
Yeah.
Even man babies with unlimited cash.
Another thing to add in there as well is if you paid attention to like the kind of mask that he had in A&W, like he had a Joker looking mask, he had like different colors and shit. They're gonna put out a whole bunch of designs to sell the living shit out of those fucking masks. Imagine Halloween time, he has like some fucking Joker mask or whatever it is around that time. Like that's just gonna be fucking sick in itself. But another man we gotta give credit to as well, because Penta nailed the presentation. This is how you present a star. This is how it needs to be. I'm not going to repeat what Watkins said because Watkins said it perfectly. This is how you present people on television, not let's draw blood every fucking match. Like, no, this is how you present a star. This is how you make them. But again, Chad fucking Gable. You got to give credit to that man too, because he is the perfect person to give a proper introduction to WWE. This man was selling good. He was making Penta look good throughout the match itself. Gable was pulling a lot of moves that I haven't seen him do for quite some time. And I'm just hoping this propels Chad Gable in the future. That's something I want to see. But he did great tonight. I gotta give credit to him. We've been giving a lot of credit to Penta, rightfully so. But Chad Gable did really great tonight.
Yeah.
Really
also
great.
To note too, like Chad was out there by himself. You could have easily, like old regime would have had like all of American Made out there, so that way Penta could be like, I'm gonna fight off the whole crowd. No, we had a strict one-on-one match, and it's also like within character for Chad too, because like you look at him last week, it's just like, give me one of those dorky luchadors, I'll show them what for, and he went out there by himself for it.
Yeah.
What do we see? Oh, Bailey. Oh,
main event Bay Uso. That's actually a good name.
We'll get to BBL later. Don't worry.
That's a conversation. That's a conversation for sure. But I do agree, guys. Chad Gable, we do gotta give his flowers due. Chad Gable was a good opponent to fight versus Penta. Chad Gable did a great presentation for him. I was very proud as a fan of Chad Gable. I'm glad that he got to be shown to the crowd that he's not just a father. He knows what he's doing. He didn't lose his momentum. Just a bad time of booking and other people priority. So I'm glad that he's doing what he can. I don't know when is he actually moving to SmackDown, because I know there's been talk. The transfer window is still open in the air. It seems like it. So it's a bit confusing. But Chad Gable, you did great.
I would hope after. I mean, I feel like this match is a perfect send off for SmackDown. I mean, what else? They didn't even advertise anything for next week, so I would assume. I mean, hey, just make it official on Friday. I don't really see keeping him on there much longer. I don't really know what the hell that's gonna do.
Yeah, and hey, at least you learned something more from Chad Gable compared to a gray-haired leather bag over at the other company.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, fuck that shit. I'm like, God
look,
damn.
No, it's fine.
It shows that no matter if you got money can talk. Is when you know how to tell a story. The story is what makes the business go, because people need to understand when pro wrestling is literally story involving with presentation and promo. Wrestling is a percentage of the entertainment aspect of what we're watching. But if you're not investing in the story or investing in the presentation to the promo, all that, the quadruple traits is what makes the character that we're seeing on screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, how can you be afraid of money? Literally. Money is right. Like, Penta walks out. He has money. Literally just jiving out there. Like,
even Captain Keller said that he has this aura
vibing
around him. He has this aura that's being presented.
The way I look at it personally is like, you see him entering WWE for the very first time. And obviously, throughout the months and years or so, he's going to continue to build himself up. And then from that point, going to point A to point B, that's just going to make him more money. So it's like, I'd rather like build myself up to make myself feel valuable, like we see with Drew McIntyre when he signed that new deal. I'm pretty sure he got a good check with that. but it's like
Oh,
I rather
And a
build
new
myself up. Yeah, oh yeah. But I'd rather build myself up and actually make myself feel valuable, so I feel like I earn that money. And I feel like if I want more, I can ask for it instead of just getting money thrown at my face. I'm more in the ballpark of making myself feel important rather than just having money thrown at me.
Yeah. And again, like you saw, you mainly saw that through his body language.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's a
like
big
just
thing.
like his entrance, you could tell he was so excited to be out there. The beginning of the match with him just kind of like taunting with the crowd and all that, you could tell he was eating that up. The shot that they quickly showed of his daughter just like in tears and all that, like you could
Oh man,
again, you could just tell
moments.
that
Mm.
they loved it. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
finally like at a level where they were like, I am presenting myself as who I truly am.
Look,
And I really hope they continue the momentum with him.
Oh yeah.
That's all I want after
Chat,
this.
if y'all didn't know something else, well, a little tidbit, because you guys don't also watch AEW, his brother Ray Phoenix, his son, even dressed up as Penta. Ray Phoenix's son, instead of dressing up as his father, decided to dress up as his uncle Penta. That's where it shows that he decided to love his uncle more than his own dad in the cosplay, in the costume, in the gear. Penta is loved by the audience. The crowd soared for
They
him.
cared.
The family of his cried. And it sucks that people will see that 2% of a quick small botch he did instead of seeing the other
Yeah, I know.
98%
That's
of
sad.
love, the great work, the
Exactly.
tag team that he did with I'm sorry, not tag team, the dance chemistry that he did with Chad Gable in this match, the respect that they had.
Exactly.
And I was very proud to see both of them do the great work. Me seeing a Penta match live and actually in color and seeing it great. The promo work in Spanish, understood everything, the love to the Latino audience, to the Mexico audience, all that just felt passion, felt the vision. And it just sucks to see the reports that also throws me off a bit of confusion of how they say, oh, because of the match and the promo went longer than it could. Some other segments after cut short. When I'm like, how does that make sense? We're on Netflix. There is
No, I
no
don't
match
think
to
it-
be
yeah.
short.
Yeah, I don't.
We finished on a
I don't
2.5
know about that one.
Yeah.
where we're still 30 minutes left of a 3-hour short that is
Yeah.
supposed to be. So like,
Yeah.
how does that make sense? The reports could be true or not, or are they trying to stir up trouble online? There's
Yeah.
no way. I'm just confused. How do you guys
Yeah.
feel about that? Is there any confusion on you guys' end? Is there any sour mouth?
I'm honestly leaning towards like they had more than enough time to do what they wanted to do because like we saw
Yeah.
tonight, they ended at 2 hours and 33 minutes. That was the time I did see when I opened up Netflix. It was 2 hours and 33 minutes. So it doesn't really make sense for like a report to come out and they're like, "Oh, well that they were trying to do whatever they can to make sure everything was falling in line with how they wanted the show to be tonight." It didn't make any sense because if it was a television, if it was like cable TV, okay, I can understand that. But this is on Netflix, and they could have crammed in that extra half hour or a little bit past that 3 hour mark. I don't really feel like everything was cut short or whatever. I feel like they did what they wanted to do tonight. I mean, that's if they didn't,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have ended at 2 hours and 33 minutes. So that doesn't really make any sense to me. If I'm being perfectly honest, it does not make
yeah, of
any
course.
sense.
Same.
Yeah. I'm just. It's just like when I see Penta and how he was presented tonight, it makes me think of the other guys. It makes me think of Ray Phoenix. It makes me think of hopefully soon Malachi Black. It makes me think of Ricky Starks. And, like those are like the first three that come to my mind. I'm like, when they return or come into WWE, they are going to be presented really well. No matter where they go, whether it is Raw, whether it is NXT, whether it is SmackDown, they are going to be presented how they should be. And they're going to be booked exactly how they should be. Now, I say that, there have been missteps with WWE bringing back some people. Like Andrade's one that comes to mind. Is just like, okay, you could maybe do a little bit more with Andrade, but like, he's at least being on TV. He's at least wrestling. He's at least being put to work, which is exactly what you need to be doing with your freaking roster.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be that hard, but it apparently is. Like And this has nothing to do with just the story part of
And
it.
look,
It's just utilizing the roster that you have in different aspects. I mean, we even see Omos right now. He's still signed with the
Oh, yeah?
company, but like they have him overseas right now in Japan. He's basically acting as an ambassador with one of the companies that WWE
Yeah.
is working with right
Some
now.
good work.
Like, yeah, and he,
I
exactly.
saw
He's
him hit
putting
like
on
the
some
last
good work.
ride. The last ride on one of the opponents he was doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he also just did like a TikTok or like a random video on the street with a random person that
Yeah.
didn't even know that he was a celebrity or wrestler. The person was like, "Oh, you're a wrestler, yeah," or wrestler for WWE. He answered the questions and everything. Like it shows very authentic, and it shows the ambassador vibe. So that's what shows it feel authentic, feel like I was gonna bring up. People could call an excuse. Money doesn't solve anything. It looks like it doesn't because
Yeah.
Tony Khan has money, not solving a lot of issues of booking. So there's something a problem being here.
Yeah,
It's
and
just-
oh man.
Yeah.
And like another thing I wanted to add in there, since you're talking about like the other people that's going to be coming in the roster this year, which isn't a secret. We know what's coming, and it's not
Oh,
us
yeah.
just saying it because we want it. Because wherever I'm the kind of person where if I'm really a big fan of somebody, I'll watch them in whatever promotion, because I'm not going to be like, oh, they're on this company, I'm not going to watch them. Like, no, I'm not like that. But we obviously know that these people are coming back to WWE because we know how their mindset is when it comes to the certain reports we see, or just basically they just want a fresh start somewhere else. But it's like Malachi Black, which I feel like more than likely he's going to come back as Aleister Black, which is perfectly fine. I don't really care about the name change or anything. That's not a big deal to me. I don't really give a shit about that kind of stuff. It's not like any Vince shit, but it's like Aleister Black coming back. I know Triple H wanted him back for the longest time, and I know he's going to be treated well. I am very confident in that. I don't know if you guys saw an indie match he recently had. He seemed like the Aleister Black that I knew when he was in WWE, just showing off that energy, doing stuff that I know he could do. And I feel like he's getting a good presentation as well. Triple H, if you're watching, root of all evil, got to bring back that OG theme for Aleister Black. Got to bring that presence. Bash, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but Aleister Black had this great presentation where it almost like he was rising out of a coffin in his entrance. And then he walked down, had this heavy metal music. It was so fucking cool. Ricky
I haven't
Stark,
seen it.
Ricky
It doesn't ring a
Starks,
bell.
Ray Phoenix, I'm pretty sure he's going to be treated perfectly fine. I have especially if he's paired up with Penta. Ricky Starks, oh my god, I actually feel like Ricky Stark is, ooh man, I actually have really good hopes for him.
As good as they've been doing Ethan Page on NXT, throw Ricky Starks in there, and he will skyrocket.
Oh yeah,
he will immediately get to the top.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because
Skyrocket
again,
to the
like,
moon.
yeah, because like he's somebody that like he has the talent. He has everything you need. It's just he needs the place to really hone that in, and he's not getting that chance right now because why? Oh, because he likes CM Punk. He's one of CM Punk's boys and all that. Like that's literally why. And the man child doesn't want to admit that because people are mean to be online. Well, motherfucker, maybe if you like actually like acted like you gave a shit.
Going on with Jamie
if you
Hayter,
actually
too.
like hey, look, another one. I could throw Jamie Hayter's name into that pool. I don't know how y'all feel about Britt Baker, but hey, she's another one. There's another name you could throw right in there. I mean, she'd do fine in NXT.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's just utilize your talent.
Yeah.
Promote them.
Yep.
Like present them how they are, and build from there. Because like that's the thing. Penta can only go up from here, and I feel like he will. It's just again, this is day one of us having him on the roster. So obviously we're all excited with that and everything. So like my only hope going forward with it is just capitalize on it. Capitalize on it, move forward, and build your next big star. Because you have not only Penta, but there's also some other luchadors in the company that you haven't really used too much, Dragon Lee, that you could do a lot more with and build upon by using Penta. Hell, I want to say this too. Have Penta be in the role that Motor City Machine Guns are in, because I think you can build up a good division and a good roster
Yeah.
around Penta. You know?
Agreed.
Have this be
I'm here
a
for it.
reset for like the luchadors too. Just rebuild that stock in them. I would love that.
Exactly. But you know, we could bitch and moan about other
yeah.
company. We can, you know, speculate also with Penta and all that. But
Yeah.
let's kind of move on. We do have a main event to talk about. Hopefully, this is the final chapter. We could just put the
Yeah.
nail in the coffin with this. Damian Priest took on Finn Balor in a street fight. I don't know where I want to start with this because, like, we had a bit of a backstage segment with the Judgment Day, but we also had like a really physical match between the two as well. It's like that because there's a lot going on here. There's the whole Finn and Liv kind of dynamic falling apart. There's Liv not being mad at Dom, but also kind of being mad at Dom.
That girl thing.
And again, yeah, it's that kind of took me out, like in a good way, because like Dom just shows up with his little flowers. He's just like, "Hey, sorry about last week. Oh, don't worry, I'm not mad. It's all good. But you can get my bags and my dry cleaning, and you can pick up my pizza too." Like,
I guess we could start with that honestly before we start diving into the chaos, because I feel like that's a nice transition to start. Because there was actually a couple questions I did have for Dominic, because one thing I will point out before we get into the match itself, obviously we'll talk about the backstage segment first.
Yeah.
But Dominic was not involved at all within this match at all.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we understood he had an assignment when he was talking to Liv in the back, doing all this extra shit for her, which I guess that was the story that they were telling, which, hey, so be it. But again, you know, there was no involvement with Dom here at all in the slightest. And I wonder if that's possibly something that gets brought up next week. Hey, Dom, where were you? Oh, I was doing this with Liv. Oh, you could have gone and do this. Because one of the things I noticed that they're doing is I feel like they're possibly building up Dom for like the next direction for his character. And I definitely see a lot in Dom in the future of the company. Like, I definitely feel like he's going to be a really big star. Like, turning him heel was the greatest thing, because when you turn someone heel, it does wonders for their career. Like, I don't know if you remember all those years. You probably do. I don't know if you remember all those years ago when The Rock was getting booed all the time because he was I think it was because he was Rocky Maivaia's son, right? Well, Rocky Johnson's son, right?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about when he first started in the company, when he was Rocky Maivia and he was all smiley, go lucky, and because that's where like Die Rocky Die came from.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's like the exact same story between The Rock and Dom, because obviously they're two different characters, and The Rock is like a juggernaut within the wrestling space. But the main reason why I'm bringing it up is because it was always that constant comparison. Oh, it's just Rocky Johnson's son. Oh, it's just Rey Mysterio's son. But then once you turn The Rock heel, it did wonders for his career, and it catapulted him to the next level. And the same thing with Dominic Mysterio. You turned him heel, it did wonders for his character. And I feel like they're definitely doing something with his character moving forward if they want to potentially turn him face or whatever the case may be. Maybe, I mean, honestly, you could really just keep him the way it is. It doesn't really matter. But it's like, I just feel like they're definitely building up the next direction for his character, because it definitely seems like we are seeing the end of the Judgment Day. And I mean, and I feel like the way that they advertised this match itself, they did advertise this match as like being the final nail in the coffin between Damian Priest and Finn Balor, which I feel like it makes sense, because especially with the line Damian Priest said towards the end of the match, where he's like, "I'm no longer my brother's keeper." So it feels like that's kind of like the nail in the coffin right there, where Damian Priest is going to move on. I would assume he declares himself in the Royal Rumble. And then we go from there. And with like the segment in the back, I mean, just to add like a little bit more to that, I'm really curious to see mainly like what Liv's gonna do. Like, I'm happy that I mean, I'll just say it right here, I'm happy that she didn't really involve herself with whatever happened at Rhea tonight. So it's nice that they stuck to their guns, and last week was the end of their feud. So I'm really curious to see what she's gonna be doing moving forward. Is she gonna go after the tag team titles? Are we going to potentially get into that whole Wyatt 6 thing that's been rumored between the Judgment Day and the Wyatt 6, which I would assume that could potentially be the end of the Judgment Day right there. Like, I feel like that could potentially be a way to just break it off completely. It's also kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around it when it comes to Finn Balor's involvement with the Judgment Day, because he clearly doesn't want to be there. So it's like really like weird to me at times when I'm watching all these segments in the back and his interactions with all these different people, because of how he shows himself towards them, where there's always fights, there's always these smart remarks, like he gave Liv tonight. So it's like, it almost tells me, it's like, you know what, Finn, just walk away now. If it falls apart on your way out, I mean, hey, so be it, because there's other shit that you could easily build a story on with the whole Liv and Dom situation and whatever happens beyond that point. But that's my biggest question with that. And
and I mean, we do still have, apparently we still have this transfer window, which
that thing's fucking annoying.
I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused when this is going to be ending. Like, is it going to end at the Royal Rumble? Maybe, since
you would assume so,
that's
right?
like, because like, yeah, I would assume so, because like the way I kind of describe this Raw is, and at least these next few weeks as we get into the Royal Rumble, we're at the point where, like, when you go to a restaurant and you're looking through the menu, like we're just looking through the menu right now. We're like, oh, okay, well, this could be good. We have, oh, Rhea versus Bailey for the world title. Oh, all right, that could be fun. That could be juicy tonight. Wait, Nia versus Rhea? Okay, yeah, no, never mind. I'm gonna leave that away. Ooh, wait, a triple threat between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew? That could be tantalizing. Like, we're starting to just see like the possibilities of what our meal can be. And yeah, I'm wondering where we're gonna go with a lot of this stuff, especially when it comes to this transfer window. Like, I want to know where the end point is, because like I thought it was last week with the Netflix debut, but obviously it seems like it's not. And what I'm leading to with this is, if the Judgment Day are breaking up, I could see them just kind of splitting, where it's like Liv and Raquel take Dom and go to SmackDown, whereas like Finn, Carlito, and JD stay on Raw. And like, yeah, they could still be a team and all that, because the Goon Squad or whatever. But I could also kind of see that leaning towards Finn just leaving those two behind. And with like Raquel and Liv going to SmackDown possibly, we did hear today that the Wyatt Six are going to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, we did.
And so with that happening, and with a possible return of a certain goddess character, person type thing coming back, and if she's going to be involved with the Wyatt Six, I mean, there's your women's tag team right there to face off with Liv and Raquel.
Oh yeah.
And with the Wyatt Six, you can have like Uncle Howdy kind of like, not necessarily tempting Dom, but kind of like changing his mind on a lot of things. Because I think what we got tonight might just be the start of a Dom face turn. Because one detail I saw tonight with that backstage segment is the TV. Because in the TV in the back, they had 2K24 up on there, but it was Dom on there. And it was like the end of the match, and they had him at a 1-star match. And I think that's just kind of like a very subtle way of being like, right now Dom is shit. And everyone kind of treats him like shit. Like, we even had Finn being like, look, you have lady troubles right now. Go ahead and just stay here in the back. And like, for weeks, Finn has been constantly putting down Dom, being like, you're not world champion material. Oh, you tried against Jamie Priest, blah, 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 like all this other stuff. And like, to the point now where he's going to probably end up being Liv's bitch for a bit. Like, constantly having to get her bags and like her lattes and her food and like all that stuff. Like, he's going to be basically her slave for a bit. And it'll probably come to a point, and it could be during like a Wyatt Six program with them, where Dom does turn face on Liv. And I think that's going to be a way for us to garner sympathy for him, by having him constantly being this person with Liv that she keeps putting down and all that. Almost in a way too, proving Rhea right as well. So like, it just, with her character, adds even more as well with it. But I mean, that's just an idea and just some stuff I saw this like in the back when it comes to this segment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you when it comes to that, because that definitely seems
Mhm.
like the next chapter that we're going to go on with Dom when it comes to his overall character arc, like the next like segue into, okay, how do we build Dom from here to pretty much just put him where he needs to be in the near future. And I do agree with what you said with the whole sympathy thing, because you're seeing it right here when it comes to the treatment from Finn Balor, when it comes to Liv Morgan, because any normal person in that situation would only take that for so long. And then they have
Yep.
that snap, and they obviously want to do that where it's like you have it go on for a few weeks, and then you have it happen so you could have like that pop from the crowd when it happens. Almost like you had that stuff go on between him and Rey Mysterio. When they had their first match at WrestleMania 2 years ago, where it's like you were building up a Rey Mysterio with all the abuse from Dominic Mysterio, and then you had that one segment on SmackDown where he just snapped on Dom and just slapped him across the face. It's probably going to be similar to one of those things where you're going to have something
Yeah.
like that. He snaps, and then you just have the audience completely behind him. And I like, and see, and that's an example of like doing like a slow build right, where it doesn't have to be something that goes on for like 5 to 6 to 7 months or so. But if you want to do that for a good 2 to 3 months or so, or if that's something you want to potentially build into WrestleMania or whatever the case may be, you know, that's like a good way to start it off. And I would love that for Dom, because like I said, I feel like he has a lot of I feel like he definitely has something that he could provide to the company in the future. So that's something I would definitely love to see him go down on. I mean, the
Mhm.
type of story for him to go down on. But this match itself, I believe it started at like 10 o'clock or so, and we had
Yeah.
this match end at like 10:33.
Yeah.
So and a street fight is honestly the perfect way to blow off this feud. And I like how they were going everywhere. They weren't just sticking to the ring, hitting each other, just and then going outside of the ring, hitting each other, just staying in that one area. They were literally going everywhere. And I loved that Falcon Arrow spot that Damian
Oh, it was
Priest
so
did to Finn
good.
Balor. Like, that was definitely a good moment. And I realize there's some people out there that don't really like Damian Priest, which I don't understand. I mean, I get it. At the end of the day, you want to have your own opinions on certain people. I mean, hey, so be it. But me personally, like, one thing I really appreciated out of last year was how Damian Priest proved people wrong.
Mhm.
Because when he won the world title, when he cashed in his Money in the Bank after Drew McIntyre won the title, a lot of people are like, oh my God, is this going to be like a transitional champion? Is it going to be something that we're not going to really care for? But when he had those matches with Gunther, and when he had those matches with Jay, and he had that match with Drew McIntyre, I liked how he was showing people not only how great of a wrestler he is, but how people could fully get behind him. And whenever I
Yeah.
see Damian Priest like in the position he's in now, it makes me happy, because years ago this guy was doing like what the Incredible Hulk gimmick. He was doing all this weird stuff that Vince had him doing like all those years ago. I think there was like a
Zombie
zombie,
match.
yeah, zombie match between
Yeah.
him and the Miz. It's like it's just funny because it's like you look at LA Knight, for example. He was Max Dupree.
Yeah.
It's like, look at Max
Yeah.
Dupree compared to where LA Knight is right now. Look at Damian Priest all those years ago to where he is right now. Like, it's completely different. It's almost like it's not the same character at all in the slightest. And I like seeing him in this
Mhm.
position. I like seeing him and Finn go at it and, you know, just go to war. I mean, that's what a street fight is. You want to have a stipulation to a match, you go and do that here. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that we were able to see that between these two guys. And there was a part of me that thought Finn was going to go over in this match, but I guess it makes sense in a way, especially if you're going to dive deeper to what you said earlier about this inner turmoil between the Judgment Day, because I feel like going down that direction makes a little bit more sense, especially if you're going to be breaking them up soon. And not only
Yeah.
because then you could easily build something into next week, a Liv just throwing shit at Finn for losing a match. Like, oh, you're shitting on me because I lost to Rhea. Look what you did last week. Talking all this shit.
Mhm.
You couldn't even back up anything you said. You lost to Damian again. So I feel like that just adds more to the story there. But like, there was a great main event, and that ending, like I loved. I'm no longer my brother's keeper, and then just ending it right there with that South of Heaven, and he does so good with those South of Heavens. But
oh my god, yeah,
that was like
it's turning into one of my favorite finishers.
Oh yeah,
just
really
aesthetically,
cool.
you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought the match was really good. I think pacing wise too, because when it happened, when we had like the ad break in between, like the broken arrow into the tables, and then like coming back, like at first I was just like, ah man, another ad break, blah blah blah. But like pacing wise, it worked really well, especially when we came back from the ads. Because when we came back, Finn's on a stretcher, and he's just like, oh wait, what? Finn's on a stretcher?
I like that.
What's going on here? You know? So it kind of, in a way, kind of added to the story a bit. Especially with Damian Priest, you know, going out and just like, you know, yeeting Carlito and JD into the stage and all that, and then bringing Finn back in. You know, it was really well paced, really well done throughout. And yeah, with Liv, like this also gives her fuel too, not only just for Finn, she can go after like Carlito and JD too, being like, oh, you boys all suck. You know, that's why my mind just immediately went to like her and Raquel going over to SmackDown with Dom, because it's like, okay, well, you know what, you three losers are just that. You guys are losers, so we're gonna go over here. You guys have fun here, and we'll talk to you never. Okay, bye bye. Yeah, I mean, it could happen and all that, but yeah, I'm just, again, the heart wants Finn to win, because I want Finn to excel and succeed and do a lot of good in WWE, because I know he can. So like the heart always is gonna want Finn to win, but the logic and the brain had a feeling that Damian Priest is gonna pull out the victory here. But I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else with this, unless Vash. We haven't heard from you about this match.
Hi. Yes. Vash is here.
You're back.
He's talking.
You're back. I saw you leave.
Yes, I left. Had to do a quick thing. But in the meantime, when I came back, while you guys were still discussing the show, I posted a couple things in our document that could be quick conversation for the quick fire. A thing that was posted, I posted with PFC, and I'm gonna post something else involving the New Day promo.
Oh yeah.
Because for those that don't know, when me and Watkins watch the commercial ads, it seems to be like there's promos going on that we don't get to see, so we have to find them out on Twitter. So like, that's fun.
You might as well throw in that Corey Graves thing in the quick fire segments too.
I was going to throw it in as well, because for those that also don't know, check our Discord link, because I've been posting them on our NXT, on our Raw and SmackDown chatter. So those are conversations there as well for any fans, audience that wants to get into more conversation with us. Go check that out. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. If you've been watching us for an hour and some change already, so you know, go check out our show. But if you want to hear what Vash thinks about this, look, I wasn't here for the beginning, so I'm going to just quickly run by thoughts and everything. Dom, you are Liv's bitch. Really curious to see how this face turn would be. I agree with Watkins and Drop that this would be an interesting route for Dom. How would it go for him? Not that he lost Rhea and is soon to be losing Liv. And where is that going to lead up to for Dom and Liv? Could it be moved to SmackDown? It would be interesting to see a Liv versus Tiffany match. That would be an interesting turn of events if that happens down the line. When it comes to Finn is getting what he deserves, because in the promo package he did for the fight of Damian versus Finn tonight, he spoke about that, hey, you broke the promise. Once you became a champion, you was the leader. We said for the judgment that there is no leaders, but then you're contradicting. Once Damian left, you acted like the leader, and you said that, hey guys, if we listen to Finn, we are all champions. You guys are going to be champions because you guys listen to me. I'm like, that sounds like a leader. That sounds like an alpha pack. And you are being the one in charge of it, Finn. So you contradicting it. And like Watkins said earlier, I am also a Finn fan. I'm a Damian fan as well, and I'm a Latino fan as well from blood. So for Damian to win, of course, I would love to support and everything. And for Finn, I wanted you to win because I want to see this Finn Balor that I never got to see in his prime or in his rise in the earlier years. So it sucks I got never to see that. So I really want to see that now before he loses that prime that he already is kind of fading out the older he gets. And he's been training the younger heads and everything, but I want to see what he could do on one more run if he gets the opportunity to get that title that he never lost. So I'd love to see that. And for the promo that we saw of the WWE 2K24, I cannot read too much into that. Don't know, but we are getting a lot of teasers for what is leading up to the 25. So we are definitely leading into something big. They've already been posting promos of the game, the modes, the graphics. By the way, the graphics looks like fucking amazing when only in a year time span, which is fucking insane. So it looks fucking stellar for the game itself. Job, you had anything to say about that?
I believe they're probably gonna be, I believe they were saying something about more stuff being like shown off on the 27th of this month.
Yes,
and that's
you're
also
right.
and that's also the same day that Roman's coming back. So we already know. I mean, we already know he's on the cover, but rightfully so, he deserves it. But it's like I would assume we'll probably get like full trailer, show off everything, whatever. So
Yeah. And when it comes to the what else? Did I miss anything else when it comes to this match? Other than the Finn, the boys talking the back. Oh, um, Finn really sold well on being on the stretcher. That's the one thing of the highlight of this match, because me and Watkins did the sidecast. We were watching what they did on the top of the fence in the crowd, and once they landed, commercial happens, which makes sense. We were gone for 3 minutes. We came back and Finn was on the stretcher, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened? Like, it makes sense what we happened, but to actually take it as serious where Damian was like, yo, the match done. This reminded me, if anybody remember, of the match between Finn Balor versus Edge in Hell in a Cell of last year WrestleMania match, where Finn had to get checked up, so Edge had to do some crazy things to stall time and kill time and everything. So it reminded me a bit with Damian of him coming out angry, going around the ring, and him just throwing Carlitos and JD to the Tron, right? To the Tron.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So that happened. That's pretty cool to see. JD continue making me laugh with his outfit. His outfit, like I said during the sidecast, reminded me of Beetlejuice. Literally, all he needed was like a blazer, and that was literally Beetlejuice right there. Like, my man, you are 3 months late from Halloween and probably 10 months early from Halloween right now. So like, you lay us hell in that. I'm shocked Dom didn't come out, because Watkins brought it up during the sidecast. I'm like, hey, is Dom gonna come out? But then I remember, like, nah, he's live bitch right now because he went to get the bags and the chauffeur and the driver and everything. He's a bit busy right now with that, so makes sense. And with Damian winning, I'm okay with this as long as this is the final thing. And like Drop said earlier, I love the beautiful line when he said, "I'm not your brother's keeper no more," and I love that. Like, that literally was a great end off for this feud.
Yeah.
Like, the feud should be done now. Like, there's no more Finn and Damian, because even Michael Cole brought it up. It was kind of like a best of 7. 3-1 from Damian, 3-1 from Finn. So it's like, all right, cool. They never promoted it as a best of 7, but I'm glad that they told audience that it's kind of been like it, just without being consistent. So I'm glad that they brought this up, because it's a good point to say.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the way they advertised the match last week, the way that they were showcasing the match tonight, that it's the blow off, because really there's no point to go back to it. That one line, like I said earlier, just seals the deal when it comes to the end of their match. Like, that one quote that he said, I'm no longer my brother's keeper. That's pretty much page closing. So I don't really see it going anywhere else.
And for the White 6 comment, I don't really have much to say during this segment. I'd rather do it during the quick fire segment. But other than that, like, the only thing I can say is, like, why? I'd rather have the White 6 be here, but I'd rather have a flesh out thoughts much later during the quick fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we're gonna move on because much like this story, I think it's time to move on from Damian and Finn. Hopefully, they find success in other storylines that we're about to do. But
Mhm.
hey, look, Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser have another match, which again, pretty dang good. Especially the two have good chemistry with each other. But a lot of the time, this is kind of very similar to some of the other matches that they've had. Uh, Kaiser just kind of shot himself in the foot by not only taunting the crowd but taunting Sheamus, and he ate a bro kick for it and lost the match. Cool, neat. Hey, there's Braun Breaker. You've also been given the Gunther treatment lately. How are you doing, buddy? You doing okay? Oh, you're in the crowd? Great. Oh, you're shoving Sheamus? Great. Oh, now we have you versus Sheamus as Saturday night's main event? Great. Do we? Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there because everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Sheamus is gonna win the IC title this year. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that with the IC title." Okay, great. He's got another shot now at Saturday night's main event. Is this it? Because
Nope.
I don't see Braun dropping it anytime
Yeah,
soon,
I don't.
even before WrestleMania. So it's like, why are we doing this match now when part of Sheamus' story is getting that IC title?
The
Yeah,
only way he gets it that weekend is because of the tweet that Sheamus did of him saying that the Irish is being strong to represent the IC title. Now it's my turn to get my title, and we have two Irish representing the IC title. That's the only way I feel like that was what happened, is just to make the representation or make a little type of history book, type of checklist, like showing. That's the only way I don't think that he will get it for this month. But if he doesn't, then I would rather he wait for WrestleMania to make it more of a big show,
Mhm.
grander scale. And as a fan of Sheamus, I wouldn't want to watch the show with fucking like 5, 6 ads during the whole
same.
product, and that's something that will take me out of
Yep.
it. That's why I don't think he'll get in this opportunity. As much as it would be beautiful if it happens this month, the Irish representation and such as, but I don't think it will be happening, sadly.
Yeah, see that's where I want to
Yeah.
jump in because it's like, I get why they're doing it only because they're throwing matches on there because there really isn't anything announced like we said earlier,
Nope.
and I'd rather him win it at WrestleMania because this has been a big story, not just this year, but this has been something that Sheamus has been wanting to do for quite some time now. Like ever since that whole story came to life of him winning the IC title so he can become a super Grand Slam champion. I actually listened to
Mhm.
the interview he had with Chris Van Vliet when I was at work the other day, listening to everything that they were talking about there. And I'd rather it be at WrestleMania because it means more and it feels like a WrestleMania moment. I don't really see why you would have Sheamus walking into WrestleMania as the IC title champion. I'd rather him do it there
Mhm.
because it's just something that they've been getting close to and just taken away from us every single time. Rather it just be paid off there. But it's like with like this like Vash said, like I wouldn't really be the biggest. I would really wouldn't be a big fan of like, okay, you see Sheamus and Braun Breaker going at one another at Saturday Night's main event, and then you got a commercial, and then you got a commercial. Because the way that the commercials are paced tonight, I felt like it was very well done. The way that they were pacing things, but
Mhm.
now this is on Netflix. The special is on like NPC and NBC and stuff, so it's like they're gonna do that typical shit that we saw on like a Raw or a SmackDown when Raw used to be on USA, and like we see with SmackDown now, where they're gonna have commercials placed at just weird points, and a match between Sheamus and Braun Breaker, especially for the IC title, if you really want to pull the trigger and give it to Sheamus, I'd rather it be like you're watching it on a PLE where there's no commercials interrupting the matches at all whatsoever. Like you just see it all the way through because that would be a hard hitting match where there's going to be a lot of close calls within the match itself, and you really want to build on that. You don't want to just build on it and then, oh my god, here's like a fucking 3 to 4 minute ad break or that stupid Burger King commercial that comes on every fucking time Raw's on or SmackDown.
BK melts.
So it's like I'd rather save it for that moment. So it's like I'm trying to figure out in my head is like how are they going to pay this off, because I don't know if I necessarily want to see another Kaiser charging in and cost him, because we've seen that numerous times. I don't know if I really want to see that.
Yeah.
Seeing them together.
Oh yeah,
in a
and
ring,
that could happen as well.
Yeah.
That
yeah, it's like seeing them together in the ring. Of course, it's going to be a great match, but I don't know if I really want to see that running, because we've seen it so many times. Why do we have to keep seeing it? Be more creative. So it's like I don't know. Like I would assume Braun Breaker beats him here, because like Vash said, I don't really see him losing the IC title at Saturday Night's Main Event. Could they do it? Sure, but I don't know if it's really going to hit as hard if they do it at this point. So it's like I would assume he beats him here, and then maybe you put it on the back burner for a little bit, and then you want to run it back again. If Braun Breaker's still champion around the time at WrestleMania, then hey, so be it. But I mean, the match itself was great. I mean, you go from Penta to this. I mean, oh my god, like that first hour Raw was great. The way the opening segment was, which we'll talk about next, and then the Penta and Gable match, and then this, like it was very well paced all the way through. But yeah, I'm more curious to see like how it's gonna make sense coming out of Saturday Night's Main Event. Like what exactly are you going to do that's different from that we haven't seen before, playing into this whole entire story with Sheamus getting the IC title.
Yeah. Yeah, because like that's the thing. It's like how many more times, and especially with Braun Breaker, because I mean, I feel like he's gonna be holding on. He should hold on to that thing for quite a while.
Yeah.
But it's like how many more times are we gonna dive into the Braun Breaker versus Sheamus realm before it's like okay, like people start turning on the idea of Sheamus winning the IC title. Now, I do want to throw this idea out there real quick. I haven't been able to yet, but I think that this might be a decent chance to do this. So, a group of YouTubers I watch called Cultaholic, they part of their content, some of the things they do is they do like these pitches videos. And they did one for 2025, or it was like, no, sorry. Backtracking. They were doing like a predictions thing for 2025 itself. So like, okay, they were trying to predict who they could see, winning each title, winning the Rumbles, and winning Money in the Bank. Now hear me out with this, because we've seen it before with the mid-card thing. One of them mentioned having Sheamus win Money in the Bank and going for the IC title. Now, yes, that might be a little bit of a cheap way for it, but at this point, why not? Why not just have him just get the briefcase to just get the cheat, almost in a way cheat to win, like cheat code to get that IC title, just to get it, just to finally get it. And it's not like, oh, he has to cash in, because he could do the whole thing where he challenges again. He does like, okay, I'm going to cash in. I'm choosing to cash in to have a match at like SummerSlam, for example. It could be something like that, So I've been wanting to throw that idea to you guys with that. Because like, again, I know we saw that with Austin Theory like a couple years ago, trying to do that with the US title. And that went almost nowhere. But at least with this, it ties into a story somewhat well. But like thoughts on that idea, that possibility.
You want to go first, Vash? Because I want to give you some screen time on the show.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm multitasking. I'm doing the work, the call thing, and I'm doing work behind the scenes for us. But when it comes to, am I interested to Sheamus to do this mid card choice? It is depending how it's executed. Paper sounds interesting. Execution, it's really where you gravitate, and how do you get the audience to actually be behind this? Because anybody as a wrestling fan will question like, nah, that Money in the Bank should only be for the main world titles, aka the WWE, or the world heavyweight title. That's only two. You could go as the mid card best by choice, and we've only seen it done. The last thing I think was the Money in the Bank by Austin Theory, who went for the US title.
Yeah, I think that was the only time, and that's because Vince didn't know how to book for shit.
Exactly.
And I honestly
So
feel like around that time they were just trying to get it off of him because I mean, did anybody really expect him to cash in on Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
exactly. It was a hard time, and I would have rather prefer a fail cash in instead of going
Yeah,
for the
I
mid
mean,
card.
yeah,
But like when it comes to Walker's questions, could it go anywhere? Yes, but depending on how it's executed. On paper, the idea I don't mind. It will be very story driven because if Sheamus loses another couple times for the IC title, it will show that he will be willing to do anything. And if he
yeah,
gets his money in the bank, it will show like, damn, he's willing to even sacrifice this briefcase that he could go for the main title, but he'd rather become a Grand Slam. And it will show an impactful story of a character who's been longing to become this Grand Slam that he never has gotten this opportunity for. So it will show an impactful story of the character of Sheamus. Just like I said, depends on executed. Story wise on paper, I like it. How is as a fan that's been there for years and others
yeah,
who already saw something similar for the US title where it fell flat, can they actually
yeah.
execute it much better this time around? If it goes this way, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have to agree with Vash. Like, it all really depends on the execution when it comes to how they structure that. Like, if Sheamus ends up winning the Money in the Bank, like the way I can honestly really see it play out is if Sheamus gets desperate. That's the only time
Yep.
it would really work and make sense because you would think after a while, let's say hypothetically he loses this match against Braun Breaker, which is what I'm expecting to be honest. And then let's say he gets another go at WrestleMania and he's super confident to get it there where he thinks, okay, this is the time, but then he loses again. And then of course you got Money in the Bank around the corner in July. That's usually when they do it. So it's like if
Yeah.
Sheamus gets desperate, I could definitely see it going down that direction. And it all
Yep.
depends on the execution and how Sheamus's character around that point. The only thing that I would say against it is I don't know if it's particularly in Sheamus's character to do that because I know with the whole Austin Theory thing, we didn't really know what was going on with that, and we ended up seeing at the end it ended up being a failed cash in because I think Seth Rollins won that if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I know it was like something with Bobby Lashley. I can't remember in the top of my head, but but it's like I just don't know particularly if it's in like Sheamus's favor because I don't know if they want the payoff to be that way, but if he's desperate and it makes sense, I mean, sure. Especially if you're not using it to like build up another talent. Like if you want to do it where there's like a story behind it and it makes sense, and yeah, that makes sense to go down that direction if nothing's planned for like a Drew or Carmel, wherever the case may be, because we don't really know how the certain storylines are going to be with like who they want to push up to like the next level once we hit summer, because we're obviously
Yeah.
going to be seeing that play out throughout the year. So if they don't have any direction towards that I can definitely get on board with that idea if they go down. But it all depends on like how Sheamus's mindset there. Because if it was up to me personally, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I would if I was writing the shows, especially when it comes to where Sheamus is, I wouldn't have booked a Braun Breaker and Sheamus match at all until WrestleMania.
No.
Because
Yep.
that's what I was picturing in my head originally was that we're gonna have Braun Breaker go through all these different kinds of people to really build up his IC title reign to add on to that credibility that went from Gunther to Sami Zayn to him, and then he was gonna drop it to Sheamus at WrestleMania. I'm not entirely sure if we're going down that direction because you never know what could be happened beyond this point. I mean, for all we know, it could be Malachi Black, um, Aleister Black against Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. You don't really know. I mean, oh my god, you don't really know
Yeah.
where things are gonna go with like a couple months from now. But if it was up to me, like I said, I probably would have hold off on this match until WrestleMania, only so it hits harder and you could build that program between Sheamus and Braun Breaker because they're both good on the mic, so they could tell a really compelling story throughout January, building up to WrestleMania when it comes to the sort of interactions and stuff, which is what I was originally expecting. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. On paper, cool, neat. It's intriguing, but yeah, I can see it kind of like what you were saying. Drop if it's a desperation move, and like I don't see. I can kind of picture it in my head if he does do it. Like he's not running down to the ring.
Yeah.
He's like staring daggers at the person, being like, "Yeah, fella, I got that was a horrible Irish accent. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, fella, like I'm gonna cash in on you, fella. It won't be too much of a banger because you're beat up, fella. But hey, fella, you're gonna go down like all my ancestors did when we ran out of potatoes. So that being said, I guess we'll have to see how Saturday night's main event plays out
Yeah.
and seeing where Sheamus's story goes from there. But with many stories come many endings, and with many endings, sometimes they're not endings. In fact, they're only just the beginning. And as we started our night tonight with CM Punk, we have the continuation basically of him, Seth, and Drew going on. Like, Punk comes out, basically declares for the Rumble. His story going into WrestleMania this year is the fact that he has that dream of winning the Rumble and main eventing WrestleMania, which yes, that is a big dream to have as a WWE superstar. But it's this thing where it's just like even though the sign for WrestleMania isn't hanging up, he can see that. So that's a great little touch to have in your promos because you're making us feel for you. You're making us feel how you're supposed to feel. But like he kind of mocks John Cena a bit, being like, "I could always have seen you, dude." And yeah, a serious Seth comes out, a pissed off Drew comes out. They all want to have a fight, but they're not going to. Yeah, they're all three going to be in the Royal Rumble, and we also find out that Seth and Drew are going to have a match next week. So this promo segment, I really liked everything about it because you had again CM Punk envisioning his future, his dream, what he wants, what he aspires to accomplish in WWE. Then you have Seth coming out, which not only selling the freaking shiner he got from last week, but also selling his mental and emotional state. Basically saying like, out of all the losses he had, from like whether it was a smaller loss, a huge loss, one of the losses where he could have won a title, like last week's really affected him, and you can kind of tell in his demeanor because again, like he wasn't really dancing a lot. He was doing some handshakes, and he kind of pulled off the Solo Sokoa Paul Heyman look when it was like, oh, I'm gonna kind of look like the devil in a suit right now. But yeah, and then from there, just Drew coming out because he doesn't like either of them, and just kind of poking the bears again. And CM Punk's responses to both of them being like, "Hey, I beat the living shit out of both of you. Y'all need to shut up." Like, in a way, he's acting way too confident and way too cocky. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you won some matches, but you didn't come out of the end unscathed, did you? Like you had some shit going on yourself. But talk to me, guys. What'd you guys think of this opening segment?
My favorite part of the segment is when CM Punk said, "Play my music" when he was about to walk out, and instead of play his music of cult personality, this man, the production crew, and Seth said, "Nah." When he says, "Play his music," play my shit, and then his reaction, like telling I believe he was talking to Pat or the camera or to us. He was talking to somebody like, couldn't it be Rhea? Couldn't it be somebody else? Why did it have to be him?
That's funny.
Like, yo, I'd rather have talking to anybody else on the roster, even on my boss. Why it had to be Seth? So I love that reaction. The timing, the production did a good timing to coordinate that reaction, the camera. So that's one of my favorite part of the segment. Also Drew coming out and try to instigate them and bringing it back that, hey, Roman is in power. We cannot forget the biggest boss or the final boss. We've been trying to get out of it, and you guys got him back in that position. So I love how even after all this, Drew hates CM Punk, Drew hates Seth, but he hasn't forgotten the guy that he hates the most right now is Roman Reigns. So I really appreciate that out of the promo, that we haven't forgotten the mission. We haven't forgotten the goal. The goal hasn't gotten moved. It just has gotten further away because of few side missions. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's something I really like because I like how that's a ongoing theme when it comes to Seth Rollins, which I'll get my thoughts on what he said backstage to Sami Zayn. But it's like I like how that's an ongoing theme. We have heels that makes sense. Where it's like when they say something, when they're cutting a promo or they're doing work in the ring, they're doing it for a reason. Like Drew said, for example, I took out Jey Uso when he was saying all that shit to Seth Rollins, where he's like, I took out Jey Uso because I was hoping you were going to come in here and help out the whole Roman Reigns situation so he's not in power again. Now he has Oofa Loofah, like that ongoing joke that's going on, which, again, it's a joke. I don't know why people are taking it seriously online. They obviously know the right pronunciation to say things, but they're just doing it for an ongoing gag. Yep, that's how the internet is nowadays. Super sensitive. But it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I like how there's an ongoing theme here, which is why I feel like down the line you're gonna get that faction between Drew, KO, and Seth, and we'll venture down that once that time comes. But you can definitely see that they're planting the seeds for that. And just another thing to throw on here that we haven't talked about yet is how stacked this Royal Rumble match is gonna be. Because I'm honestly gonna look it up on my like computer right now. I actually have it open right here, but it's like I have to come out and say this is probably the most stacked the Royal Rumble has been for years now when it comes to like a lot of these top guys being involved in the match. Because you got LA Knight involved, which this is going to be his first Royal Rumble match that he's a part of. You got John Cena, you got CM Punk, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre. That's a pretty stacked That's a pretty stacked lineup, especially when you put it like John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre. If you just put those names along, that's a pretty stacked Rumble, and a whole bunch of chaos could happen within there, because it's like, okay, Roman Reigns, because you obviously know as soon as Roman Reigns comes out in the Royal Rumble, it's almost like if Nia Jax got involved in the Women's Royal Rumble, which I expect that the exact same thing to happen during that match, where all the eyes are going to be turned on Roman Reigns because of all the shit that he did over the years. And obviously it's going to come in effect with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and whoever else is involved in that match as well that has a lot of this personal beef with Roman Reigns. It just makes the whole thing unpredictable because you don't know what sort of direction it can go down. With John Cena, the journey to number 17, CM Punk getting that WrestleMania main event, Jey Uso proving to the world that he could become world heavyweight champion outside of this. Actually, I kind of feel like him being involved in this match pretty much gives you the result for next week. Not if I'm being perfectly honest. Roman Reigns wanting to reclaim his throne after getting the Ula Fala back with that match between Solo Sikoa and how he wants to challenge Cody for the title. Seth Rollins inserting himself into the main event picture once again. And then Drew McIntyre obviously putting a nail into the coffin, ending Roman Reigns once and for all, and rightfully so, getting that world title, which I'm hoping whenever he does get it again, it adds a little length to that. Besides, I understand what they did last year, but, you know, add a little length to it because he definitely deserves it. But there's like so many different directions that they can go down with this, and I wouldn't be opposed to it because it makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of something I liked last year when it came to Cody and CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, all these people heading to the Royal Rumble. Triple H did a very good job building, like, okay, what is their initial goal heading into this? And you would pretty much come to the conclusion where it's like, you know what? I'm okay with this guy winning. I'm okay with that guy winning. So it's like, I really appreciate like a lot of the thought that's being added to this Royal Rumble. I mean, you could only imagine if you're at home watching this, seeing John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and I'm not entirely sure who would be like the last one. Let's say Drew McIntyre in the final four of the Rumble. Like, that just gives me chills just thinking about, like, oh my God, is Roman Reigns actually going to do it? Is CM Punk actually going to get that WrestleMania main event? And that's like the thing I loved about this. You're making the Royal Rumble match feel important because over the years prior, it felt really predictable, but now it feels unpredictable where you don't know what sort of direction it can go down.
Well, it's like you mentioned the last star-studded Mania. The last one I can truly and honestly think of that was possibly on the caliber of this might have been 2020, because that's the one that Brock started and took out half the field, you know, when he got in there. Um, but it was ultimately won by Drew. But you had Roman Reigns in there. Pretty sure Seth was in there. I'd have to go back with that one. But like you also had Edge's return,
Oh yeah, that's right.
AJ Styles in there. Like you had some big names in that match, and it was actually a really good. Like, say what you want about that first half with like Lesnar taking out everybody,
Mm.
but I mean, hell, you also had Ricochet kicking him in the dick for that. So hey, win-win for all of us, you know. Um, like, eh, but yeah, I mean, I would agree with you because like especially in the past couple of Rumbles, because like we expected Cody to win the past couple of Rumbles, which he did. You know, great. We're gonna finish the story and all that, but like we're past Cody's story. You know, at least that part of the story. We're past all that, so it's like now we're in this weird, unpredictable territory. We don't know where it could go because really anybody can win this. And it will be great. Again, we're looking at that menu, we're looking at the main course, the main dish that we're about to get. It could be, oh, we could get Roman Cody 3. That's a possibility. Oh, maybe we could get Punk and Cody or Punk and Gunther. Maybe Roman decides, oh, he doesn't want Cody, but he actually does. And we get Roman and Gunther. Oh my gosh, that would be something cool. Like, we're seeing just all the possibilities. It's like we're Yuha right now, and we just got the Almighty. We can use the Almighty. We're seeing all the possibilities of the future right now,
Mm.
and it's exciting. It's really cool. Because again, wrestling is at its best when it's unpredictable. And yeah, the Rumble's gonna be crazy, especially with like all these different storylines going into it. And yeah, we're really gonna know the layout of WrestleMania come the Royal Rumble this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like how you had mentioned this too, Seth, that this ties in so well with another story going on where Seth found found Sammy, who, Sammy was just trying to be a good guy and say, "Hey, I heard you say it out there. And if you need somebody to talk to you, I'm right here." And yeah, Seth again calling him out on his BS, being like, "Okay, yeah, you helped Roman, you helped your boys. You're gonna keep helping him, or you're gonna help yourself." Which, yeah, Sammy, are you gonna start thinking about yourself instead of your friends? That'd be great for
Yeah.
your career.
That's why it's hard, like, not to acknowledge that possibility of Seth, Drew, and KO like becoming like this faction within the group because
Hmm.
it's an ongoing theme with them. They're being brutally honest around the people. They're acknowledging the situation around them of what's going on with Roman Reigns, what's going on with Cody Rhodes, etc. So
Hmm.
on. Like they're actually pointing out the flaws. Like a KO, he's pointing out the flaws with Cody Rhodes. With Drew McIntyre, he's pointing out the flaws with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, and obviously KO's doing that too. But then you have like Seth Rollins, where he's doing the same thing with like Roman Reigns bloodline, but he's also pointing out the flaws within Sami Zayn. And I don't think Seth Rollins is just doing that like just for the hell of it. Like I
Hmm.
definitely feel like it's building into a heel turn that we'll eventually see with Seth Rollins. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we get like more Easter eggs next week because we got Seth and Drew set for next week, so you never know what could
Yeah.
transpire out of that match because it's a WrestleMania rematch. It's gonna be good. I mean, you put these two in a ring. I don't see why you wouldn't say it wouldn't be a good match.
By the way, I
Yeah.
love the promotion they're saying about it's a WrestleMania rematch. I love that the promotion they put out for
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
moving
because that is
graphics,
acknowledging.
moving
And the
graphics.
moving
Oh, the
graphics,
movie graphics
that
look
is as
great.
well. Watkins brought this up during the show when they was promoting of the content for next week, and I know John brought this up in our own private chat, and that's for last week. So it's nice to see the consistency
Yeah,
and when they choose it when they want. So I love how it is balanced very well, where it's not always given. It's
Hmm.
just the right opportunity.
yeah. But it's like I definitely expect like more Easter eggs to come out of Seth and Drew next week, and like
Yeah.
the whole thing with like Punk too. Very curious to see what sort of direction that leans him towards when it comes to his road to
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Like this, it pops up the question: Does Seth Rollins get his revenge on CM Punk and stop him for getting that WrestleMania main event? Does things transpire between CM Punk and Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble because there's rumors about Punk and Roman Reigns having a match at WrestleMania? And normally, the kind of things that happens in the Rumble match is that you get these two people stirring up some trouble in the ring, and whoever eliminates who, or if there's tension or whatever the case may be, usually that's signs pointing to, oh yeah, you're going to see these two guys at WrestleMania, kind of like how we saw Logan eliminating Seth Rollins. They had a match, so there could be some tension there where it's like Roman Reigns is there, but CM Punk gets rid of him, or whatever the case may be. It's like there's just a lot of stuff that can turn out of this, and I mean that's something I appreciate.
Yeah, yeah, same here. And again, this leads into see, this is why I like it's like, we're not throwing different storylines together. We're not putting this one group that really hates the concept of a company with the concept of the company group that people hate and despise. We're not throwing them together on a team, be like, hey, fight the people y'all are feuding with in a 6-man tag or a 12-man tag. Go do that. That'll be fun. That'd be great. That'll get people watching, right?
Oh yeah,
Right. Fuck you, TK. Anyways,
get some
but
popcorn.
no, yeah, get that popcorn, all right. Get that sweet buttery goodness into you. No, um, no. This bleeds in really well with stories because like we have a story now with Sammy becoming world champion
Mm-hmm.
for once in his life, and it leads into him, going to Adam Pierce, probably trying to get into a Royal Rumble and all that. But like he's met by Karrion Kross and The Miz, who we this is when we find out that the Wyatt Six ended up going over to SmackDown now. Now, how do y'all feel about that? Because like we didn't really get a set ending between these two teams.
No,
So like how do y'all feel about us just like leaving it?
I
Because
just,
it's
it's
very
weird because
weird. Yeah.
when was the last time we saw the White Six? I think it was November, right? Or early December when the last time we saw the Final Testament versus White Six, correct?
Yeah. I think it was like early
It's just
December.
it feels, and also what's the sad part is that they're choosing the White Six to go to SmackDown where there's commercial and ads where they will lose time. Where it's for Raw and Netflix, they have 3 minute ads where they could work
Hmm.
around when to produce the show, the segment, the White Six, and they're more about presentation. They're more about the story, the momentum, the horror feel that they give when it comes to Bray Wyatt, who used to give. He used to take the slow walk down the aisle to the ring. It felt magical. It felt like how the kids call it today, cinema. So it just felt very impactful. But now I'm going to SmackDown. I'm more like, okay, how you guys gonna do this? Maybe it will be helpful if it goes to SmackDown because now SmackDown's a 3 hour show. Maybe
yeah.
the Wyatt Six will give that 3 hour show more volume instead of feeling it flat. So there is a possibility of what Triple H is doing, trying to balance the work and load when it comes to a 3 hour show. Since SmackDown it's a 3 hour from 8 to 11, but if you take out the
Hmm.
commercials, it's like 2 hour and 10 minutes. So depending on what they could produce, maybe the Y Six is gonna be there. Just have to see execution. I'm more spectacle and a bit disappointing the transfer without even having no type of last minute or last hoorah for Raw on Netflix
Yeah.
from the White Six. Also, it's just like, hey, they're gonna go smack. I'm like, wait, that's it? No promotion, no type of video package.
I
I
mean,
guess we're gonna get it on SmackDown. It is
I,
what it
I
is.
mean, I mean
I
to
mean, I
be
guess so.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
what are they really doing with them now? So it's, I mean, it really
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense to me in the slightest if they had like one match on Raw and then they moved to SmackDown because you don't have to do that with everybody. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I'd rather there just be a shuffle where you bring so and so from Raw and so to SmackDown and pull whoever from NXT to go on Raw or SmackDown or whatever you want to do with it
Hmm.
because you don't always have to have a send off of everybody and they're not really doing anything. So it's like I feel like the perfect opportunity is okay. You want to bring them to SmackDown? Okay, there you go. That's a new area for them to explore. You could start something over there instead of because there really
Yeah.
isn't anything to do, and I don't really want to tap into the whole Final Testament thing because based on what we saw tonight, that's over and done with. So at least with them appearing on a different show, that's pretty much a new beginning with them.
Yeah.
And I also kind of want to see if there's a reason that Triple H gives me to care about the Wyatt Six, because I love the concept, I love the whole idea behind it, but they felt cold. There really isn't anything that's like wanting me to tune in next week to see what the Wyatt Six is doing next. I mean, we see all these other stories playing out between KO and Cody and whatever's going on with Drew, Seth, Punk, and what's the next direction for so and so. Like we talked about earlier, okay, who's the next challenger for Lyra? What's going on with Rhea next? Who's declaring for the Rumble? We had different conversations throughout the show talking about with them, but with the Wyatt Six, it's kind of like you're playing a video game. You gotta find that key, and it's like hidden somewhere, and it's so hard to find. But then once you find that key and you open the door, there's nothing there. So at least with them being on SmackDown, I'm hoping there's something with them to work with, which also adds into the whole thing where you got this whole thing rumored about a program potentially happening between Judgment Day and the Wyatt Six. How do we get there? You bring Judgment Day as a whole on SmackDown. I mean, hey, I feel like that'd be a good idea. Get fucking Finn, get Damian Priest and all of them away from all of that. But it's like it all depends on what they do that time where they bring them to SmackDown. It all depends what sort of direction that they give us, because as of this moment, there really isn't as much investment coming from my end, and everybody else could be different. But coming from me, there really isn't anything that I'm like tuned into with the Wyatt Six at this moment.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like, they're a special attraction, which is fine. Good. You should have your special attractions. But that's basically it. They're the special attraction that'll show up every now and then. But like, yeah, just like what you guys have been saying, you gotta have a little bit more than just being a special attraction. Gotta be more than just dream matches and all that shit. But anyways, I'm gonna keep poking. I'm gonna keep poking.
Oh no,
that
that's
bear.
fine. Go
So,
for it.
Oh, trust me,
Yeah.
I get it. You're gonna be angry,
Like-
and also, why the fuck would you have a 5-on-5 on Collision, the fucking channel that nobody barely sees?
Yeah. But anyways, onto a show that actually does matter. So I like the setup that we get with this this impromptu match too, because like this wasn't promoted through the show or
No.
even online with the Miz and Sami Zayn. It was just an impromptu match, being like, "Hey, look, Sami, you can spout all this nonsense. It's great. That's awesome. But I'm still a 2-time champion. That's 2 times more than you will ever be, And I mean, this is, I guess, just more for us to kind of like sympathize with Sami Zayn, at least with the promo part of it. But like the match itself with like Sami Zayn and The Miz, it wasn't much to run right home to, except for the fact that we freaking Sammy actually won a match with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Now,
Yes.
before you guys say it, yes, keyboard warriors out there, I know it followed a haluva kick. Don't get me wrong with that. However, he still won after pinning The Miz doing a Blue Thunder Bomb, which hasn't happened since because this always stuck with me. He did win a match like back in the Thunderdome era with the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah.
But he hasn't since. And that's the thing, because that's one of the moves I really like.
Oh yeah, same.
Like I love that move. And like it could be a really good finisher. And if Sammy like sets it up like he did tonight, where it's like, just chasing somebody into the corner, quick haluva kick, get him up for Blue Thunder Bomb, boop, like it could be like one of those like combo finishers, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just really like it. It was really cool to see,
Yeah, I like that too. Like if Sammy just wants to keep the haluva kick as his finisher, that's fine. I'm not gonna have any complaints with it because we've seen it for years. But everybody just loves the Blue Thunder Bomb. It's such a unique finisher. It really captures Sami Zayn. And whenever I see that move, I just think of Sami Zayn. So it's like with him, like you said, setting up the haluva kick in the corner, stunning your opponent. Kind of like if you're playing a game, you have that. It's like when you're playing the wrestling games, you have that signature move that sets up your finisher. It's kind of like what Tiffany does sometimes, where like she does like, what is it, like the Alabama Slam, and then she sets up the prettiest moonsault.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like something along the lines of that. Or I think she even did like a fireman's carry where she like takes her opponent
Mhm.
over her shoulders, and then she drops him in the ring.
Kind of just like
yeah,
like the standing senton kind of thing.
yeah. So it's
Or
kind of like
rolling senton.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of like one of those things. You do the Luva kick, you stun your opponent. You know they're in a daze. I don't know what direction they're in, and then you set up the Blue Thunder Bomb for the 1-2-3. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how many people I see online even say Sammy should just use the Luva kick as a setup, or if he wants to use it on certain occasions as to finish up a match, so be it.
Mhm.
But it would be pretty cool if Sammy did lean a little bit more into the setup and then Blue Thunder Bomb to close off the match, because it just feels so satisfying when he does it that way.
Oh yeah. And because that's the thing, the move is just in itself just satisfying to watch.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
At least it is for me. Because
I agree.
it's just fun to watch.
It's really
But,
nice
yes.
transition. When me walkers like saw it, like we both didn't expect it. We were like shocked, like, oh, is that a match ended? The Miz? Oh, the 1-2-3 hell of a kick, and the transition of the hell of a kick to the Blue Thunder Dome is just smooth. Like it's something that we didn't expect. And he has tried to do before, the hell of a kick to the Blue Thunder, and then try to pin somebody else, but then they always kick out. But to see this interaction of how the fans love this, I'm really curious to see if Triple H will be changing this in the future for Sammy, if it will be more of a finisher for
Mhm.
moving forward. Because if they was testing the waters, I feel like this experiment went very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, quick match to just kind of, get Miz on the card, and I guess kind of push the story with him and Cross, because when Cross came out of Pierce's office, he was like, "Look, if I find out that you were the one that made Wyatt Six go to SmackDown," blah, 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 blah," it's like, okay, we're at least continuing that, depending on your investment level with Miz and the Final Testament. Cool, neat, but at least
Yeah.
there was something there,
Yeah.
something that was actually decent.
Mm.
Yeah. Man, but we're gonna talk about one quick little segment here to kind of end everything, because hey, we had our women's world champion here. She had to celebrate a little bit. I love how Rhea kind of echoed the internet with this one, because I don't know if you guys saw this after like the rundown of Raw came out, but a lot of people were like quote tweeting
Oh yeah, I saw
like,
that.
"Oh, Rhea's gonna be on Raw," and they were just like quoting exactly what she was saying, like, "Oh, mommy's always on top. I'm the most dominant woman," but like shit like that. So I kind of like how Rhea played into that. She's just like, "Look, y'all see me, y'all know what I'm about to say, and y'all are gonna sit there and listen to it because mommy's on top." Blah blah blah, and this basically prompted Nia Jax of all people to come out
Yeah.
and talk and
Which
speak.
we were unexpected of seeing this arrival. I didn't expect out of all
Yeah.
people for her to be the one to interrupt, which makes sense for anybody that's unaware. Nia Jax tried to go for the title back in late 2023. So she tried to go on the last quarter of that year trying to go for this title. So it makes sense that she's coming back for it, or try to express, hey, I spoke to my general manager, Nick Aldis, because the transfer window is still open. So I'm going to leave Farley SmackDown to come to Raw for, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
I'm
Plus,
like,
I
cool.
mean, good chance for her to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in the Rumble." Isn't that neat? I hate you, San Diego or San Jose, excuse me, or
Yeah.
all that. Hey, look, Bailey, I hate your hometown. Doesn't your hometown smell funny? Doesn't it smell like moldy cheese?
It was
I don't like moldy cheese. Like
it was funny how she
okay.
asked Bailey why she's there. I mean, Bailey, that was just like a silly
Yeah.
question to ask her, and Bailey's like, I live here.
Yeah, like this is my hometown.
Yeah.
Like this whole segment
I
felt a bit
literally like
off.
walked here from my house.
No, it
It
did.
felt a bit off,
It did.
because right after when Bailey entered, also Naya, your comments on Bailey is always hilarious. She's like, "BBL Bailey, yeah, come on, yeah, just come in the middle of the ring." I'm like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, oh my
Bailey's
God,
not
the
wrong with
beeps.
what she said. I mean, you got to be more creative with your material. We've
Mm.
heard it already, so that's why I don't
Yeah.
blame like Bailey for the response that she gives. She's like, yeah, I heard already. You got to be more creative with what you say. Yada yada this, yada yada that. So it's like, I'm glad that she had a moment in her hometown, because know, it was deserved. She's from here, so I like how they give moments, just like how they did with Tiffany Stratton not that long ago when they gave her a big moment in her hometown. So I like how they do certain things like this every so often. But yeah, you know, like Watkins said, Nia declared for the Rumble, and that pretty much just tells us, okay, whenever Nia comes out, everybody within that match itself is going to team up on her, and then bye-bye Nia.
Yep.
Yeah, and we saw the that Rhea loves to give headbutts. No matter, like, that's
She
literally her
always does,
go-to.
yeah.
Whenever she's
yeah.
about to start a fight, she's always her go-to headbutt time.
That's probably the best thing
It
to
reminds
do.
me.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Pokemon. I forgot who's the one that always does a headbutt. But literally, the first thing that Rhea does is just always headbutt move. Like, girl, like, be careful of your head. Like, it's gonna get a bump. And then I love how Nia just did the return of a headbutt. Like, yeah, it makes sense for her because she's a Samoan, and you don't ever want to get into a headbutt type of battle with a Samoan. So makes sense in that. But did anybody notice when Bailey? When I say grab, she eyed the title that Rhea was holding. She, she was trying to help her, but also be respectful. Like, hey, let me give you the title. And when Rhea and her were standing side by side, gave her the dab, like, appreciate your assistance on this. And then Bailey was just eyeing her, like, damn, the world title actually don't look that bad on me. Maybe, girls eyeing it.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
You can't blame her. I mean, they're all out. They're all out for that title, so it's like,
Oh yeah.
if I was her, I would do the same thing.
Yeah. No, same here. I would be being like, oh, wait, hold on. That's shiny. That's neat. I haven't held that yet. I want that. But yeah, we're starting to build up the women's Royal Rumble, which could be a bit more unpredictable because, I mean, especially with the depth of their women's roster that they currently have, but also the fact of certain names that could come through and all that, certain people that might come into the company.
I'm happy these ladies that we keep mentioning, Charlotte, Becky, and these other people. I'm glad they haven't appeared yet for Raw and SmackDown. I want them to appear on February 1st. I want them to wait. Let's say, like, it sucks that they're not gonna bring the Raw power for SmackDown or Raw right now. Get things hyped, get the ball rolling. But I'm rather wait until after Royal Rumble they could appear, start doing the promo, start doing the feuds, and such as. I'm okay. I'm excited for what they're cooking right now.
I feel
like this being a Raw that we have. I know we're gonna go, like, right now on a 2.5 Raw. We're literally doing a 2.5 coverage right now, and we're about to end the show. So it shows that this Raw cooked more than last week in story, in coverage, in what it was. It shows the momentum and what it could be. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, like more than a 3-hour SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
And it's like the best thing. I think, like, when it comes to the women's Royal Rumble, I think I tend to have more an anxiety, and not in a bad way, but the women's Rumble is the one that I love both of them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, 2 Rumbles in one night. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. But it's like the women's Rumble is like the one Rumble I always lean towards the most, and it's been like that for the past couple of years because it's always very unpredictable when it comes to the sort of direction they go down. And usually the women's Rumble, I noticed for the past couple of years, has been the one that a lot of people lean towards when it came to the overall enjoyment. But it's like, you look at it so far, okay, Nia Jax announced that she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. You got people like Charlotte coming back, Becky Lynch coming back. You have Alexa Bliss coming back. You have people possibly coming from NXT appearing in here, like Roxanne Perez. You could get Julia being here so she can get familiar with the main rosters. People know who she is. She could be in there. Oh my God, you get your NXT champion, the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Oba Femi's in the men one. And then you got Stephanie Valkyria. Like, that's one of the things I like about this. You get those teases where, let's say hypothetically, and I know for a fact Triple H is thinking about this because he always thinks about the future. Imagine you're watching the Women's Royal Rumble next year and you got Julia and Io Sky staring at each other across the mat. Or you got Stephanie Valkyria staring across the mat where she's looking at a Becky Lynch or she's looking at a Charlotte Flair, something along the lines of that. Like, that's how I love how the Royal Rumble creates moments. And you got Bianca in there. Yeah. Bianca looking at Julia. Bianca looking at Stephanie Valkyria.
Jade returning
Jade
because of
returning.
that.
I actually feel like that's a good possibility to like bleed into that whole storyline, but it's like it gets me excited when it comes to who's going to be in the Rumble. I just want to take this might be a nitpick to me, but I'm fine if you want to announce certain people, but don't do all of it. Don't do all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had said that during our sidecast. I was just like, okay, this is great that we're getting announcements from like the men and women's side. Just don't announce everybody. All
Yeah.
right, just announce maybe like 10 names,
Yeah,
10
it's
to
fine.
12 names. That's fine. Yeah, because that's like a third of your field. Okay,
Well,
great.
Jordan Grace.
Then we'll have like Jordan Grace is the other
Her
shout out.
contract
Yeah.
comes to an end this week.
Oh, it's this week. Ooh, okay, all right, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. Shoot her to the main roster.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she kind of did her time in NXT,
Yeah.
but shoot her to the main roster. I think she'll do great up there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean that was the final segment we're going to talk about tonight. A lot of other stuff happened. Either during the commercial ad breaks, but because we're living in America and we love our ads.
Oh yeah.
We gotta watch those. Gotta watch all 3 minutes of those. But they are up on the socials and all that. So go check them out. It seems like some storylines are coming through with some people. Other people seem very salty for where they're at in the company.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, maybe we'll touch on those in almost a week's time
Yes.
on another show that we're about to do.
On Thursday, January 23rd.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so let's kind of quickly give me your overall thoughts on Raw. Vash, go ahead.
Overall thoughts, guys, is that go check out each of the segments. Time codes down below to hear the thoughts. What I said. The show has been 2 hours and a half. All I could tell you is the show has been amazing. Penta, go check out the sidecast. Go on twitch.tv/Animal3Studio. Go check us on TikTok for the social media clips that have been posted already. And go check out the NXT stuff, the last week of Raw. And we appreciate you guys being here. And I'm sorry for Corey Graves. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drop. Final thoughts.
So I'm happy that when it comes to the overall presentation of Raw, I'm happy that they're able to be flexible with the show. So whatever they want to pace in the show, they can do it how they want. So that was a good thing. That's definitely a plus for my end. Definitely a lot of stories coming out of tonight's show, like we talked about within our show itself. So I'm very happy to see that there's definitely a lot of conversation that we had, which is needed because if you guys are at work, you want to kill some time. If you're doing something, your boss allows you to be on your phone and listen to podcasts. I mean, hey, you got like 2 hours and almost 2 hours and 41 minutes to listen to. I mean, hey, if I could listen to a podcast and kill time, I'd be happy about that. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts. Really good show. Glad how everything is paced and looking forward to next week.
Yeah. And again, like I said earlier, I mean, we're just opening up the menu and seeing what we can have to eat, and we'll make that decision when the Royal Rumble comes. That's when we'll know, hey, this is what our meal's gonna be. And yeah, just a great show overall, and production. I'm glad stuck to a high level. I know we didn't speak too much on it, but it did stick to that high level that we had last week. So
it continued the high regards of what they were producing, even in a different arena. Myself and Walker's brought this up earlier in our sidecast that hey, they're in a different arena. They might not have the same technology. What could they do? But no, the drone was good. There's a few times it was a bit wonky on the stabilizer. There's a few times it was a bit pixelated, but it's things, internet issues, maybe metal, things that they still have to work around it. So overall, the production was great. It's still having drone shots, still having the crane shots. All these things have been improvements in the product. Sucks that it can't be consistent in the SmackDown, but only time will tell in the how the product could be transitional when it comes to two different products on the same week with two different type of networks.
Yeah. So, but hey, that was Raw. This was our show. It was great. It was awesome. It was fantastic. And if you guys were listening to Vash throughout the show, you guys know where everything's at. You know where those links are. They're in the description. You know where the handles are. They're literally right under me. Like I'm literally just sitting on these handles, and they're ready to be followed. They're ready to be taken in to your feed, and your timeline can only benefit from having us on it. But I'm just going to take some time to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, again, follow us on all those social medias and all that wonderful stuff. And also be sure to use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring so we can see your responses, see what you talk about, and also so you guys could possibly give us some feedback. Because, hey, we're nothing without you guys tuning in, and we love to enhance our show in any way we can. Weebs of the Ring is presented by Anima Wii Studio. Thanks again to our wonderful and awesome production team for all the hard work that they put in. And, of course, remember, as always, people, no stunt grannies were harmed in a recording of this podcast. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you next time.
Peace out,
Like walk
guys.
inside, grab those love handles.
Best thing to do, man.
Yeah.
Forgot one more thing.
Oh, yeah. That. Yeah. Yeah.